ESPN. This is the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Brought to you by Sumner One.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the opening drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis, where it's 7 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley, Danny Mack, Matthew Rocchio, Randy Carricker from the E&B Granite Studios at the Centene Ice Center, where today the Blues will open up training camp for their 2024-2025 campaign. Good morning, kids. Who's fired up?
Oh, I am super fired up.
Are you fired up, Brooke?
I am fired up. We are here at Centene Community Ice Center. Hockey will be happening soon. So what's not exciting about that, Dan?
Well, we get to see a bunch of guys skating around, passing the puck, shooting the puck, and the first of... Oh, man, I was just thinking about this. I was looking at the schedule. The Blues don't get done till hopefully right around May, whatever that time frame is, maybe even June. You never know, but it is a long season. It all kicks off today. I've never been to the
Operations, and the general manager, Doug Armstrong, will also join us. Greg Amsinger, we're also going to hear later in the show from Kevin Carter. Today is Thursday, and today is one of the anniversaries, of course, of the 1999 Rams, who will be celebrated this weekend at Busch Stadium. Kevin Carter, one of the great players on that team, a Pro Bowler, had 17 and a half sacks that year, and so we'll talk to Kevin. Kevin does not curse, and there were times during the interview where I got him to curse.
Really?
Which is good. That means he's comfortable. But
what happened? What were you guys talking about? Tease this a little bit.
He was talking about the halftime of the game in Tennessee, where the Rams were down 21-0 at halftime. And he said Marshall, who never said anything, tipped over a table at halftime. And he said, "This can't happen to us. This isn't going to happen to us." And then Kevin said, we grabbed all of our blank and we went out there and we were going to blank them up. And then obviously first play of the second half, Marshall takes a swing pass 57 yards for a touchdown. Rams had that game. If there is a proper call made, Jeff Wilkins would have gotten another opportunity. It should have been roughing the kicker, but it wasn't, and he missed the field goal, and the Rams lose the game. And then after the game, Kevin is telling me that he's telling Steve McNair and Eddie George, he said, "We're going to see you again, and we're going to kick your blanking ass." So it was pretty funny.
Really?
Yeah. So,
well, you did just say a bad word.
Well, I did, but
really, it was paraphrasing
donkey.
Kevin.
We're gonna kick your donkey.
We're going to kick your donkey.
Yeah. Fantastic opportunity to get autographs from Marshall Falk and Isaac Bruce. And you can also hear a great Q&A with Mike Jones, Mike Martz, and Ricky Prohl, which will be pretty cool, too. Fans have the opportunity to go to Cardinals.com/greatest show on turf.
Are you emceeing that?
I am not.
Oh.
No.
Boy, you'd be the perfect guy to do that.
Well, I appreciate that. I think Aki might be doing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Because we've got Lindenwood. We've got Lindenwood stuff going on. So
that's
we're
right.
having the Lindenwood reunion. They're calling it the Lindenwood Mafia. And so, yeah, Greg Amsinger is coming into town. Alex Ferrario is going to be there. We've got a
Rammer, you.
Yep, David Amlati from Channel 4.
Yeah.
It's,
so it's going to be fun.
It looked very intimidating on the graphic.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's kind of a mafia type thing.
Yeah. Whenever I looked at that, I was like, oh, okay, I see that they're coming. The Lindenwood Mafia, as we call it.
Absolutely.
The Cardinals are heading down the stretch impressively with a 10-5 win over the Pirates last night. Cardinals have won the first 3 games against the Buccos. Sonny Gray, 5 2/3. He allows 4 runs on 9 hits, doesn't walk anybody, strikes out 8, including his 200th strikeout of the season. Only the 9th Cardinal in history to strike out 200, and the first since Jack Flaherty back in 2019.
How would you sum up his year? I'm still...
Very good.
Yeah, I think it's good. I don't think it's, like, excellent, but I thought good to very good and kind of what we expected out of Sonny Gray.
That's what I would say, is that for me, what he has delivered is what I expected he would deliver.
I think as expected, but once again, you still are missing that other piece of that starting rotation, that 1-2 punch. He was as expected. It's just that you needed more from the starting rotation in general this season.
And the Cardinals go 4 of 10 with runners in scoring position. If they would do that every game, then they'd really have something.
They would have something. How about Jordan Walker and his bases clearing double late in the game? The Pirates bullpen is not great. We discussed that yesterday, but at the same time, it was nice to see Jordan Walker, Mason Wynn come through in those big situations.
That to me is the number one thing heading down the stretch. If you looked at Now, clearly, you want to win games, and I think the club wants to finish above 500. But if we're being honest about it and what you want to see Jordan Walker, and I've been saying this forever, you want to see him have a good September, go into the offseason with a little confidence. It looks like the guy that was in August last year. I mean, that's the kind of player that he was and can be. And that, to me, is the most important thing, because you are riding a lot of your fortunes on that young man's back. You really are.
I think one of the issues that the Cardinals have, and this is not an affront to them, because they genuinely think they're going to win all the time. But I think that they would have been so much better off if they would have just kept Jordan Walker here and let him get major league experience and been self-aware enough to realize. I said last November I thought they were a 500 team. I think I'm pretty rational about it. I want them to win. But I think that they would have done well to realize, hey, we're basically a 500 team, and if we're ever going to win big again, we need this guy to be a great major league player. So I wish he would have been here all year long. Yeah,
you were counting on Goldschmidt, you're counting on Arenado, and you were counting on Jordan Walker, and to an extent, you were counting on Nolan Gorman. And when those four guys didn't play at their level that you expected, it turned into a long year. I would counter that, Randy, just in one way, is if he didn't have success. So I'm with you. I would have loved to have seen him be at the major league level for a longer period of time, and maybe he fights out of it. They must have saw something that they looked at and said, this guy's completely overmatched right now. And if he gets buried at the major league level, what are we doing to his psyche? What are we doing mentally moving forward? But generally speaking, I'm with you. I want to see him play.
And I look at a guy like Carroll, who easily could have been buried in Arizona.
There you go.
I look
That's a
at
good
Churio,
example. Yep.
He could have been buried. I know he's got the big contract in Seattle, but Julio Rodriguez had a really tough couple of months, and he's only 22, and the Mariners stuck with him. There comes a point where you just have to recognize, okay, we saw last year down the stretch in the second half of the season that Jordan Walker is a major leaguer. So let him be a major leaguer and let him deal with some of the adversity that goes with being a major leaguer.
And I think the commonality between all those that you listed there is that they have the contracts to go with it. So, of course, you're going to stick with those young players. Now, that could be another discussion about if you should give those young players a big contract like they did with Jackson Churio. Of course, they did that a little bit sooner. The Brewers identified that they want to give him the contract. They found a way, especially, with these younger players, the contract, as they do better year after year, it's going to get more and more expensive. So the Brewers got ahead of that. With Corbin Carroll, that's a fantastic contract. I've said that over and over again. We see how it paid off. He got off to a rough start, as you mentioned. He was hitting below 200 to start the year. And then in the second half of the season, he's exactly what you expected out of Corbin Carroll. I just wonder, to your point, Randy, if they would have just stuck with Jordan Walker, making sure that they show that they have the confidence in him and saying, well, we like how you deal with adversity, so we're going to stick with you through it. Because they did stick with Nolan Gorman for a while.
They did. There's no doubt. The other thing I would look at going just to advance your story or your point here, I think Mason Wynn, if you're the front office, you got to take a look at trying to lock him up. He's shown it for a full big league season. He's putting up numbers. They think he's going to be a superstar. We talk about having a face of the franchise. If you're looking at extending young players, he'd be number one on my list for sure.
Do you think that Mason Wynn was a little bit of a surprise to the Cardinals this season when you're talking about how quickly they saw his timeline and progression? Because, as you mentioned, they put a lot on Jordan Walker and even Nolan Gorman to an extent. What about Mason Wynn? Do you think that was somewhat of a surprise to him, how well he's adjusted this season?
Well, remember where he was hitting at the beginning of the season?
Yeah.
He was down in the lineup, and now you pencil him in, and maybe he has exceeded expectations. I think if you look at a place that he has, it would be at the plate. I think they knew he was going to be pretty good defensively. They'd seen flashes of it. Any kind of struggles he's had at the plate, doesn't take it to the field. So to me, as I look at him, and he's exceeded my expectations of what he would do offensively. So yeah, I would imagine for some in that front office, he probably has exceeded expectations, but offensively.
Yeah, so great defensively, number one in terms of defensive runs saved of all shortstops in Major League Baseball. 729 OPS, 14 homers, 51 runs batted in. In Bobby Witt Jr.'s rookie year, he had a 722 OPS, lower than Wynn. 20 homers, 80 RBIs. Throw the RBIs out, but he had a few more homers. But Wynn, for the most important number for them, had the higher OPS. So if you go to Mason Wynn and say, okay, we want to sign you to an extension, are you offended if he says, okay, our baseline is the Bobby Witt contract?
I would say good luck, and I'd walk out the door. because Bobby Witt is like a generational type player, and I'm not saying Mason Wynn is not a very good player. He is a very good player, and by all intents and purposes should get better and better. But if that was the comp, if I'm the Cardinals, by the way, I'm saying thank God we got Bobby Witt Jr. That would be fun to see. But I just can't see that being the same type player. I just can't. Bobby Witt Jr. is generational, and Mason Wynn is really good. Now, he may turn into an even better player, but I would probably walk out the door, Randall, if they came to me and said that.
But you wouldn't be offended if Witt,
that's the business.
Right.
It is the business.
If he comes in and says, hey, my rookie year is essentially better than Bobby Witt's junior year or rookie year, so let's start there. If you're the Cardinals, I think you have to expect that's what's going to happen.
You're going to look at comps.
Yeah.
And that's just how it's done.
Yeah, OPS plus, by the way, for Wynn, it's amazing. Their rookie years are almost identical.
Is that right?
Yeah, except both had an OPS plus of 102. Their OPS is within 7 points of each other. Witt had a few more home runs, and Wynn has better defense.
What about stolen bases?
Stolen bases for Mason Wynn, 11. And had been caught 6 times, and in Bobby Witt's rookie year, and this is another thing that bothers me about the Cardinals is I don't think they run enough. Bobby Witt's rookie year, he stole 30 and was thrown out 7 times. So 16 attempts for Wynn, 37 attempts for Bobby Witt.
I'm with you. I wish the Cardinals ran a little bit more, and especially when they were struggling offensively. If you get somebody on, try anything. Try running more. You got a couple of guys that can bunt. Siani's one of them. Hit and run. Just think outside the box, especially when you couldn't score runs, which when you look at this season, it's going to be defined by their offense in a negative way and what they didn't do with runners in scoring position.
They need to be able to manufacture runs in any way, to your point. I was expecting with this group how young and athletic that they are, that you would see more stolen bases this season, especially with the new rules, everything like that. It would be in the favor of a young athletic player like you've seen with Mason Wynn. Mason Wynn has some wheels. So does Brendan Donovan. Even Paul Goldschmidt is great at stealing bases.
He's very good.
You've got a 24 patch on your jersey. Why not just honor that guy?
Right. We're going to run wild to honor Whitey this year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Other baseball last night, the Brewers, for the 3rd time in 4 years, clinched the NL Central. That's just a really good organization. And credit to their ownership. They lose David Stearns to the Mets. They lose Craig Counsell to the Cubs, yet they keep rolling and win the division again.
So that's my sick of it. Can I give you an early sick of it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I'm sick of the Brewers winning. They're finding a way to win, and to take it even further, Randy, they lose Craig Counsell, and you got Pat Murphy there. They lose Corbin Burns, and you're thinking, well, that's the number one guy. That's your win guy that we always talk about every 5th day. He's going to be the guy that for sure gives you a chance to win, and they find a way to win. They lose Yelich for the season. I mean, even if he's not Christian Yelich of a few years ago, it's still Christian Yelich, who's a very good player. They find ways to win. So they basically did it from the beginning all the way to the end and didn't falter in terms of where they were position-wise in first place. It's a great story with the Milwaukee Brewers. And
the Yankees also clinched a playoff spot last night, so they are back. And we have football tonight here on 101 ESPN. Thursday Night Football, the Patriots and Jets. Bet you're excited about that one. What are your friends thinking of that one? Are they going to watch?
Oh, they're going to watch. Oh, yeah. There's always friends that watch.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, my friends haven't told me which direction they're going in just yet. Yeah, they're thinking about it.
All right. You'll hear it here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, sick of it here on 101 ESPN. Get your text in, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Here on 101 ESPN. We are, by the way, even though we're at the E&B Granite Studios at Centene Ice Center, we are on the YouTube today, and we hope you'll just go to youtube.com/101ESPN, and the Air Alliance studio cam is up and running here from Centene. Coming up, sick of it on 101 ESPN.
The NFL is back on ESPN. Tonight, Jets and Patriots. Pregame at 6:30. Kickoff at 7:15. Your destination for the NFL in St. Louis is 101 ESPN. Back to more exclusive Blues talk. 101 ESPN is live from the Centene Community Ice Center. Brought to you by Bud Light and E&B Granite. Bernie Federko's only choice for granite countertops, cabinets, and flooring.
All right, time for Sick of It here on 101 ESPN. Dan, Brooke, Matthew, and Randy. Guys, I'm sick of nights without hockey games. I'm sick of it. Sick of it.
Well, you won't have to wait for it here soon. I mean, it won't be much longer.
You get Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, Saturday nights, generally. You're going to be busy, Randall. It'll be good.
Okay, good. So on Saturday night, this Saturday night, I think we have one.
Yeah. So it opens up on a Thursday in camp. You get a full day Friday, and you get everything done in 24 hours to 48 hours, and then you start playing games.
Can I give you another one?
It's crazy.
And I hate to generalize here, but I'm kind of sick of Teslas. So and all due respect to our buddy Kerry Davis, who drives to Tesla, I'm driving down 270 yesterday, getting onto 40 westbound, headed to Mentality, headed to Chesterfield Valley, and I am in the second lane from the right, and I see in my rearview mirror brown or green Tesla coming up about 100 miles an hour, flying past everybody and getting onto the exit ramp to go eastbound, flying past everybody. Whoo! Because that car almost hit me. As I was getting into the right lane, it almost hit me. I get onto 40, and I'm about a mile down, and here's a white Tesla coming up, no blinkers, 100 miles an hour, literally 100 miles an hour, weaving in and out of everybody, and could have easily killed somebody. So all you Tesla drivers out there, just settle down, okay? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the Teslas.
Is it the Teslas, or is it the drivers?
I think there might be, and I don't know. This is why I don't want to generalize, but I think there might be a personality trait among people that drive Teslas.
Wow.
What's the new big boxy looking car?
That is the Cyberbot. Cybertruck.
It's the Cybertruck.
Why would somebody buy that?
It looks like a kid's drawing of a car brought to life.
I've seen two of them, maybe. They're interesting. I'll just say it's interesting.
I think that's the whole purpose, right? Is because they catch your attention. Did you see the latest news story about that one of them caught on fire and they could not get the fire to go out?
Oh.
I did not see that.
Yeah.
If by latest news story you mean one a month for the last 3 years, then yes, I have seen the latest news story.
So you saw what I was talking about, right? Did that
it happens.
survive?
I'm not sure. It happens. It happens all the time with Teslas. So it's really one of the biggest downfalls of them.
Well, now Randy's over here looking at the
Here, no, look.
Cybertruck.
Here, no, this is what I wanted to show you.
It looks like a trash can.
Yeah. It's if you look at a metal trash can.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically the exact
Now,
same
how
thing.
much do they cost, though, Randy? Because I think that's the key there is that people know that they're expensive. So if you're driving one, you're kind of showing off a little bit.
I would say so, yeah.
No, that means, what it's saying is I've got so much money that I can waste it on this ugly piece of, let's see, it's
Watch it.
80 grand. $100 grand if you get a tri-motor Cyber Beast, but 80 grand for a dual motor all-wheel drive Cybertruck.
You probably upset a lot of people this morning who are driving in their Teslas.
There aren't that many people that are driving Tesla trash cans, first of all.
This is Randy saying it, everybody.
No, but they are. If you just Google Cybertruck trash can, it's clearly an inspiration from a metal trash can. And those drivers yesterday, that's what the first thing I thought of when I saw that. I'm okay with one, but then when the second one is weaving in and out and almost causing accidents.
And they're quiet, too, so you can't really hear them coming.
Right, yeah. So I was thinking, okay, I'm kind of sick of this. And again, Kerry Davis drives a Tesla, so it's not everybody, clearly.
I feel like you're calling out CD right now.
Kind of.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, former NFL player, aggressive, He's one of his favorite
squash
things.
you.
One of the things he ever did was he says his favorite thing in life is to knock the breath out of people.
Spoken like a true NFL guy.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You're calling out his car brand. I don't know if that's the best thing to do, Randy. So this is what I'm sick of. It's bad that I have to say this again, but I'm tired of Titans quarterbacks embarrassing me. I am so tired of it. You had week 1 with Will Levis, and you had the pick 6, which we talked about. And then week 2, as we also had to talk about, that just embarrassing bad fumble where even Callahan was just at a loss for words and said that it was dumb, which it was. It was dumb. I am tired of of Titans quarterbacks just absolutely embarrassing us. They were close in a lot of those games, and Will Levis just made some really just dumb decisions in those games that really cost the team. It's like instead of having a devil and an angel on his shoulder where you listen to both of them and their arguments, he has two little devils on his shoulders in those moments, and he's like, all right, well, we're just going to, panic right here and, throw caution to the wind. Even that touchdown with Calvin Ridley, which I appreciated because Ridley's on my fantasy football team, that could have been a pick in itself. I don't know if you saw that, but that was not a great throw on his part. Calvin Ridley is just very talented and made it work. But at the same time, I'm just tired of the embarrassment. I was thinking about this last night about who was the worst Titans quarterback in Titans history, and I think it was Zach Mettenberger. Remember the LSU quarterback? They called it the Met Show. He started in 10 straight games, had 0 wins, and more interceptions than touchdowns. But even you had Fitzpatrick. He came over. It was more like Fitz-tragic would be the best way to describe it. But there's been a lot of bad quarterbacks for Tennessee.
One time in 2004, Chris Chandler was here. The Rams had all kinds of quarterback problems. Bulger was hurt. Chris Chandler was playing. They lose a game in Carolina. And this is the sick of it. Mike Martz comes on the post-game radio show right after the game, and he says, I'm sick of our team being held hostage by our quarterback.
He said that on the air?
Yeah.
Oops. So he threw him under the bus.
Yeah, basically, but he deserved it. The guy had thrown 6 interceptions that day, so, yeah, you get it.
I feel like at that point you have to be able, because there was people talking about Callahan very rightfully calling out Will Levis. You guys have a problem when a coach sets it up in that way of saying...
Not really.
I approached it to him. If you saw the video of it on the sidelines, you could tell that Callahan was very frustrated. So I don't have a problem with that. I think that he was just honest about that situation.
I think, though, you got to be careful because you can lose a player and then by extension lose a locker room or a clubhouse. I think if you're the manager...
Especially if it's your quarterback.
Yeah, or a coach. I just think you got to be careful in how you do it, how you position it. You probably have... I'd like to think you've thought about what you're saying here, and it's with a purpose, but many times it's not. It's just... in the heat of the moment, and you're going to lose some people when you do that.
One time, Mike, preseason game on ESPN, he fired Joe Germain during his halftime interview. he said, Germain had a terrible first half. He's not going to play for us anymore.
That was it.
He basically cut him at halftime of a preseason game.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I already did my sick of it.
You did. Okay, well done. Okay,
Milwaukee Brewers winning. I'm sick of it.
What do we got on the text line? Anybody sick of me being sick of Teslas for the day?
There were some people who there were some wildly different texts we got about the Tesla comments. I'm sick of the phrase bases clearing double/triple. There's no such thing. Think about it.
Well, if the bases are full and you hit a double or triple and you clear all those people off, what else are you going to call it?
Well, his argument is that there's somebody still left on the bases.
But previous to them being on the bases.
I like that.
Randy, I'm with you. I'm just trying to be the advocate of the texter here because I'm with you on this one.
Okay.
But I appreciate
listen, I love semantics. I appreciate
you rock? No, you don't.
No, a semantic? I never like that. It's not, yeah, we do above 500 wrong.
That's like the argument that you're really, if you're 25 and 15, you're really only 5 games over 500.
He's right.
Rather than 10.
You're 100% correct, Randy. Great job.
No, that's not right.
Right. Exactly.
It's a silly argument.
I have compromised on the Tony La Russa method. You're plus 10.
That's a good one.
I refuse to call it 10 over 500. I go with the Tony La Russa method as a compromise.
So if you're 25 and 15, though, and you lose 10 in a row,
you would be 500. But if I would have...
So what were you before you won 10 in a row?
You were plus 10.
But 10 over 500?
10 over, well. But if we had won 5 games, we would be 500.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm so sick of it. Not being able to get excited for my Cardinals in postseason play.
Oh, yeah, I'm sick of that.
Fair.
It's getting old.
It is.
The second year.
It's been, we you know what? It's been spoiled, right? We've been spoiled, but the last 2 years have been so down. And, they're out of it essentially by September. The final month gets kind of boring. And last year they were out of it for a good portion of the season. You can be spoiled, but it's the manner in which you lose, too. And they've been out of it the last couple of years.
We touched on this a little bit yesterday. Do you blame Ollie for not wanting to be part of that history of having back-to-back full losing seasons for the first time?
I don't blame him.
I don't either. I don't want to have that history.
No.
To that.
Not at all.
And used in trivia a lot.
Yeah, right. So if I'm Ollie, I want to go 82 and 80.
I think they're going to finish above 500. I think they will.
Yeah.
But you mentioned it the other day, and I think it's the right term. It's optics.
Yeah.
You know, does it really matter if you finish 500 or a game or two above or below? Not really.
Yeah.
But it's optics in back-to-back years in which you're under 500.
Yeah, they're going to get swept this weekend by Cleveland.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah, that's going to be 2 out of 3.
Okay.
I think they lose 2 or 3.
And then you go to Colorado, and Colorado's actually playing hard. They just took 2 of 3 from Arizona.
And it's always weird in Colorado.
Yep. And then you go to San Francisco, and San Francisco's still playing hard.
Okay, then I take it all back. You're right.
So maybe
you proved it to me.
Maybe 81 and 81.
You proved it to me, Randy. I'm wrong.
But Dan,
yes,
I think we can both agree it's meaningless. What happens in these last few games is completely meaningless.
But it's optics.
But we shouldn't trust it. Yeah, it's optics for the long term. But we know they sucked. Right?
So
nobody's going to change our minds about that.
The only thing I would say is like what we were talking about before. Walker finishing strong. Maybe you get a start out of McGreevy, learn more about him or what he does coming out of the bullpen. You know, I'm help me out here. I'm pulling on. I'm trying to figure out anything that you're looking at as a positive.
They have
get a chance.
10 games left, right? 10 games left. You know, it's 10 meaningless games left. I tend to not trust anything I see in September, especially at the end of September.
Totally.
Anyway. That's Dan, that's Brooke, that's Matthew, I'm Randy. Coming up, our buddy Greg Amsinger, MLB Network, joins us here on the opening drive from the Centene Ice Center, the EMB Granite Studios on 101 ESPN.
Hey, with Alex Ferrario, I'm Brandon Kiley. We are broadcasting live this week at the Centene Community Ice Center, where the Blues are back, baby. It is officially hockey season. Be sure to tune in this week live from 11 to 2 o'clock. BK and Ferrario broadcasting from the Centene Community Ice Center for Blues training camp.
Absolutely, BK. It is exciting that hockey is officially back, and I can't wait to start the season off with training camp and see you all out at Centene Community Ice Center. It's refreshed by Bud Light for the fans on game day, and it's brought to you by E&B Granite, Bernie Federko's only choice for granite countertops, cabinets, and flooring.
one's got to say it. Let it be you. Use the mic drop feature in the 101 ESPN app. Search the 101 ESPN app now in the App Store or Google Play. 101 ESPN Sports Center.
Seventh inning flurry sends Cards past Buccos. Good morning. I'm Bradford Bruns with your Sports Center update powered by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Last night at Busch Stadium, Ali Marmol's club played its sixth in inning number 7, charging past Pittsburgh 10-5. Shortstop Mason Wynn swatted his 14th homer. Jordan Walker hit a bases-clearing double, and Michael McGreevy tossed 3 scoreless frames to seal that victory shortly after being promoted. The Redbirds target their sweep about 11 hours from now, deploying Eric Fetty against Luis Ortiz. Elsewhere, Milwaukee turns back Philadelphia 2-1, though Pat Murphy's squad had already clinched another NL Central crown by virtue of Oakland defeating Chicago. Aaron Boone's Yankees, also postseason bound, nipped Seattle on these airwaves 2-1 as well. The Sports Center update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
This is the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Brought to you by Sumner One.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Danny Mac, Brooke, and Randy looking forward to seeing Greg Amsinger this weekend here in town as the Lindenwood Mafia assembles. News team assemble. And when that call is made, just like the news team for Ron Burgundy and the gang, everybody does assemble. And Greg Amsinger is going to make his way into St. Louis as we get everybody together. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
I'm actually practicing my football play-by-play, Randy. As we speak, you interrupted me. I was working on a few calls. Would you like to hear a sample?
I would.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Randy, sorry I have to cut you off. You finish that Dan Deerdorf story in a minute. It is 4th and 3. The Lions trying to get on the scoreboard once again. Glances the shotgun. The Tommy's bringing pressure. Fakes the handoff. He goes right. Far sideline. Looks in the end zone. The ball is tipped. Jeff Caldwell catches it in the end zone. Touchdown Lions. They extend their third quarter lead at 70-3. Randy, go ahead and finish that Dan Deerdorf story.
Okay, Greg, I was thinking a little bit differently because we're going to be on TV. And here, I'll give you what my call is going to be. Because I grew up in the Pat Summerall era. Touchdown, Lindenwood. That's it.
So is Lindenwood favored this weekend?
I think so, yeah. We have a poll. We have a poll. Which one our audience likes more? I mean, I don't know. That's good.
Looking forward to it. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I don't know if you guys are as into what's happening in Major League Baseball as much as I am. I've become the biggest Detroit Tiger fan ever in the last 2 weeks. There are some times that you have addition by subtraction. And to me, the biggest story that no one seems to be talking about, the highest paid player on the Detroit Tigers is Javier Baez. Statistically, he's one of the worst players in the sport. Not to pile on, but it's true. He got paid $140 million. He's hitting well below 200. He's had an attitude that does not look like he likes to be there. And since they put him on the 60-day IL, since he's been placed on the IL, they're the best team in baseball. And that's not just a coincidence. Human mojo affects all of us. That's why I'm excited to go back to St. Charles for this game. It's going to be so much fun to have positive energy in the booth. I think that's just going to trickle down to the field, and the Lions are going to end this 0-3 season. They're going to be on the board with a victory. I believe in positive energy, and you're seeing it with the Detroit Tigers. They might squeak into the playoffs. Sweeping the Royals. Now they've got the Orioles, who have been terrible. Since the 4th of July, the Orioles had the 4th worst record in the American League. And may I remind you, the Tigers end the regular season with 3 games against the Chicago White Sox. Ooh. It's looking good for the Javi Baez-less Tigers to get into October.
Hey, Greg, a lot of times, and we talk about this here in St. Louis, people will say, especially on our air, the manager has nothing to do with it. It's all about the players. The players got to play better. A.J. Hinch seems to get guys and teams to play better, in my opinion.
I agree. And there are certain guys that get the most of their talent. I think that's a different way of saying it, right? And A.J. Hinch has been given a lot more power than other managers have. It's sort of 1990s approach to management. They're letting him make a lot of decisions. And when that happens, it usually leads to success. Alex Cora is a very powerful big league manager. That has led to success for the Boston Red Sox. There have been some lean years, and I get it, but there's a reason why they gave him the extension and they're paying as much money as they're paying him. The Craig Counsell reign in Chicago is going to work. It's eventually going to work. Don't think this is a dumpster fire going forward. He usually gets the most out of his talent, and Pat Murphy will tell anybody. I interviewed Pat last night when they were popping bottles in Milwaukee. The influence Craig Counsell, a guy that he managed when Craig Counsell was a player for him at Notre Dame, has impacted him as a big league manager. So guys that know how to do the job at the highest level, that are true leaders in that dugout, they do get the humanity at the higher level from their players. It really does work.
Greg, as the news came out yesterday, Lance Lynn went to the 15-day IL, which will effectively end his season, obviously with the Cardinals, as he's dealing with a knee injury. But just looking at his last start, he did fantastic for the Cardinals. And just looking overall this year, what he was able to provide, were you surprised by what Lance Lynn was able to do? And now the question becomes, does he come back for next season, or even if he retires?
I think Cardinals have to bring him back. He's incredibly valuable. He wants the ball. His mentality is valuable. You want someone like that in a rotation who's going to scoff at what Garrett Cole did by putting four fingers up and giving Rafi Devers first base with no one on and one out in the fourth inning of a no-hitter. He's old school, man, and you want that guy walking around the clubhouse. That he's going to give you the evil eye if you're like, the blister on my pinky is a little painful. I don't think it'll make my start. Lance Lynn doesn't listen to any of that. Now, look, the knee injury could be a chronic knee injury as he gets older, closer to the age of 40. And look, he's not the leanest of dudes. So that might be something he has to work on. But his mentality of taking the ball every fifth day, trying to go deep into games, not overthinking an approach to facing the opposition. He likes to throw his fastball. He's not going to sit there and breaking ball people to death. I mean, I forget which pitcher I was talking about. There's a guy that throws 9 pitches now. I'm like, is that real? A guy throws 9 pitches? Lance Lynn would scoff at such a suggestion. So I think someone like Lance is important to have kind of with the troops as the Cardinals try to bring this approach, which I got to tell you, the Cardinals are going to make the playoffs. It's not because of the starting pitching idea of bringing in these veterans who want to go deeper into games. That worked. The lineup didn't. They didn't hit. The veterans they brought in to be in that rotation actually panned out. So bring it back, run it back with that rotation, and I think the Cardinals will like the idea.
Take it a little bit further, Greg. How would you sum up the Cardinals season, and what are those around Major League Baseball saying what happened this year with the Cardinals?
Disappointing. Without a question. The fact that the Milwaukee Brewers, without their manager, without the guy that kind of assembled the entire idea that's on that roster, David Stearns, highest paid front office executive with the New York Mets. Then you've got Corbin Burns. They waved the white flag before the season. They trade their ace to Baltimore. They lose their best position player in Christian Yelich. They didn't have the best closer in baseball until about a month ago in Devin Williams, yet they still have the best bullpen in the National League. There were so many problems with the Milwaukee Brewers. Then at the deadline, when they knew that Christian Yelich was on the IL with this chronic back injury, they didn't go get a bat. They got Aaron Civale and Frankie Montas. They got 2 starters. The fact that the Milwaukee Brewers, did the Macarena wire to wire and won the NL Central with no stress at all is a disappointment, not just for the entire division, but specifically for the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals were as win now as any team in the division in terms of veterans that, have been there, done that. For this team to not give the Brewers any kind of stress in any way all season long is a massive disappointment. And that's not just coming from me. You could ask anybody. Ask John Mosey like that. It's a massive disappointment. Ali Marmol, massive disappointment. Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt, the whole gang. It's an incredibly disappointing season when you consider the climate of competitiveness in the division of which they were playing in.
So with that being the case, Greg, and this is back-to-back tough seasons for the Cardinals. The Cardinals were very bullish on this season. As a matter of fact, Mo came on with MLB Network last year after the Cardinals, during the winter meetings, after the Cardinals had made their signings, and he said, hey, we didn't spend this money to win 80 games again, and they're going to probably win 82 or something like that. So how do the Cardinals get better for 2025?
I think a commitment to the core. And when I look at the teams that thrive, they commit to the core. The guys that play every single day, and those are the guys that bring them out of the doldrums of mediocrity. And Jordan Walker plays every day. If he's 197 a year from now, then okay, it didn't seem to work, right? You're going to let Mason win. He played every day. He proved that the idea can work. Ivan Herrera plays every day. If he wants to catch as much as possible, he's your starting catcher going forward. That's your guy. Okay, I believe Victor Scott should be the center fielder for the St. Louis Cardinals. I truly believe that. I like Michael Ciani a lot. But I think Victor Scott's got a higher upside. I think he's an incredible defender. I know Ciani is as well, but Ciani's not going to ever steal you 90 bags. Victor Scott's got that in his bag. We see if he can't steal first base, but I would like to see him play every day. There are certain guys that they just got to commit to. They're the core, and this is what we're going with. I like the veteran idea in the rotation. The bullpen had a terrific year. The back end of that pen with Kittredge, Romero, and Helsley was awesome. But I think it's a commitment to the new position player core of the St. Louis Cardinals. Does Luken Baker fall into that? Maybe he does. If he does, commit to it. But this ongoing AAU tryout of whoever's hot is going to play, this kid's going to not get at bats. We're going to send him down to the minor leagues, and it feels like an ongoing tryout for position players during the season. It doesn't work in Major League Baseball. There is a commitment that winning teams make to young players that grind every day. And if you don't do that, what I've seen over the years, these guys, it becomes mental. So the Baltimore Orioles finally committed to Jackson Holliday. Next year, he's going to break camp. He'll be the starting second baseman. The Orioles are going to let him play second base every day. Jackson Holliday is going to flourish. It's going to work for him. There are so many examples like that, and the Cardinals need to commit to the young position players if they're going to get out of this.
I find it interesting that Lars Nootbaar sometimes plays, sometimes he doesn't, shows great talent, other times he's not. Is that the guy in kind of the equation that you're talking about? Play him every day, or is he more of a fourth outfielder?
See, that's a tough one for me because I don't know what he is. I dropped a comp last year that he reminds me of Andy Van Slyke, young Andy Van Slyke. I don't know if he's the defender. I don't think he is the defender of Andy Van Slyke, the way Andy was playing center field during his days with the Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Pirates. But you dream on the bat during Andy Van Slyke's best days, a 280 hitter with over 20 home runs, could flirt with 100 RBIs, steal you 20 bags. You think that's what Lars Nootbaar is, but is he a leadoff guy? I don't think so. Does he bat second? I don't think so. Is he middle of the order bat? They've been batting him sixth. I don't know. So you can dream on Victor Scott. You can dream on Jordan Walker. You can dream on Ivan Herrera. You kind of know what they are when they're at their peak, when they're at their ceiling, what they are. Guys that you can't – it's almost like the ideology behind the MLB draft. The reason why when we do that show we try to give you a big league comp is I've been told by so many scouts as I prepare for the MLB draft, guys that have been in the game 30, 40 years scouting, the reason why comps are important and the reason we're having this conversation about Lars Nootbaar, if you don't really know what he is when he's at his best, if you don't know, it reverts back to the idea during the draft where scouts have told me, if you can't look at a young high school player and go, which big leaguer does he remind me of? If you can't do that, he might not be a big leaguer. And if you don't know what Lars Nootbaar is, then maybe he's not an everyday guy. It's just something to think about because I don't know if the Cardinals know what they have in Lars Nootbaar.
Greg, I want to ask you, too, about just contract extensions. When you're looking at Ryan Helsley, we were discussing this yesterday, would you approach him this offseason about a contract extension? Because you're talking about having that commitment this offseason to certain players. Is Ryan Helsley a part of that equation for next year and beyond?
Brooke, that's a great question. I think the Cardinals must do that. And that is against the MO of a lot of big league organizations. They do not believe in investing in the ninth inning. These guys throw so hard. It's hard to keep them healthy. You go find the hot hand at the end of the year. I just think it's not the way to do it anymore. Bullpenning is vital to get to the playoffs in September and then win in October. The Cleveland Guardians are a team you don't want to mess with. Why? They get the best bullpen in the American League. Emmanuel Clase is going to, for the first time ever, this is a nugget I couldn't believe, first time ever, there will be a pitcher who leads the sport in saves 3 years in a row. That's never been done before. Mariano Rivera led the sport in saves 3 times in his Hall of Fame career. Emmanuel Clase is about to lead the sport in saves 3 consecutive seasons. That's a major advantage for the Cleveland Guardians. I think he's going to be a Cy Young finalist because of his sub-1 ERA. He's going to have over 50 saves. Look at what the Brewers are enjoying right now. Did you see Devin Williams on the mound last night? This St. Louis kid has the most unhittable pitch in baseball. His arm speed when he throws this changeup is better than Pedro Martinez's arm speed when he threw his Hall of Fame changeup. Don't tell Pedro I said that. He'll hit me with a wiffle ball the next time I'm around it. But my point is Devin Williams is that great. And they have the best bullpen now in the National League. Ryan Helsley is incredibly vital. There were people that raised an eyebrow when Dana Brown, the GM of the Houston Astros, his first big free agent splash move was bringing in Josh Hader to a bullpen that was already considered good with Ryan Presley and Abreu in the 8th inning. But he thought this will be a strength of ours. As you get ready for October, Spencer Arrighetti will probably go to the bullpen with his 13 K per 9. They're unhittable in the pen now. And that's why I think they're my favorite to go to the World Series. So I think the Cardinals have to recognize that no matter what they do, they're not going to outslug teams next year in 2025. It's not going to happen. So you need to win your one-run games. The most important player for the next 2 to 3 years for the St. Louis Cardinals is whoever is in the 9th inning. Why not have one of the top 5 closers in the game and Ryan Helsley stick around and wear the birds in the bat for years to come? I think it's imperative that they do that.
Greg, one last thing before we let you go. The rumor floating around that you're going to retire to become the general manager of the Lindenwood basketball program. Is this any truth to this rumor?
You know what? If I was making $7 million a year and I got bored making $7 million a year, there might be some truth to that. I mean, I give Woj some credit, bro. Like, how much money do you really need? He's a simple man. If you go back, he's been wearing the same glasses for 20 years. So he doesn't do the upgrades. He's not a bougie guy like me. I like to spend my money. He clearly saved his. So he wants a lower blood pressure. He wants a slower pace of life. I do not blame him at all. But no, at the moment, the rumors are not true. As much as I would love to run the NIL program for the great Lindenwood University, I still got to make some bread, so I'm going to do that on TV.
All right. We'll see you Saturday. Looking forward to it. By the way, the football game, Lindenwood and St. Thomas on ESPN Plus, and you have the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Is that right? Hey, is it unprofessional to be shirtless with body paint on in the booth while you call a game?
Not at all. They asked us, actually. They sent an email. Somebody asked what the dress code was. I said, I'm wearing a Lindenwood golf shirt. Somebody brought up the ideas of ties. And I said, no, I'm not wearing a tie. That's not happening.
All right. So you'll wear the polo. I'll wear the body paint. This will be a great broadcast.
Sounds good, man. We'll see you Saturday.
Take care, guys.
Thanks. That's Greg Amsinger. He is the great host of MLB Tonight on MLB Network, a product of the Lindenwood University, obviously, and a native of St. Louis. Great to have him with us here on the air and in St. Louis on Saturday.
Are you ready for Saturday?
No.
No.
Have you done any prep?
Really?
No.
None whatsoever.
I like just wing it. Don't do any prep going.
No, I'll be prepped, but game time is on time.
So who's the analyst?
Rammer, I think, is going to do analysis for most of the game. Alex Ferrario is going to do play-by-play for a quarter. I'm going to do play-by-play for a quarter. I believe that we're going to have David Amilati from Channel 4 from First Alert 4. We're Second Alert. Yeah, so it'll be a fun group.
That's fun.
7 people. Yeah, it's Lindenwood broadcast team assemble. It's David Amilati, Greg, myself, Glenn Cerny, longtime leader of KCLC, Rammer, Jim Hewer, our great friend, and also Alex Ferrario. So it'll be a great time.
Very
Looking
cool.
forward to it.
Should be fun.
Coming up next, we've got a quick TIOLI. Take it or leave it on 101 ESPN.
You can now watch 101 ESPN live on our Air Alliance team studio cams. Catch every show live on our YouTube channel or at 101ESPN.com. 101 ESPN studio cams.
Presented by the Air Alliance team heating and cooling. Getting the job done quickly, correctly, 100% of the time.
wall Blues coverage is right here. 101 ESPN is live from the Centene Community Ice Center. Brought to you by Bud Light and E&B Granite. Bernie Federko's only choice for granite countertops, cabinets, and flooring. It's time for Take It or Leave It.
Want to say something? Put it out there. If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your Take It or Leave It.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
All right, Dan, Brooke, Matthew, and Randy, a quick TIOLI here on 101 ESPN. Guys, take it or leave it. David Tepper, the owner of the Carolina Panthers, has surpassed everybody to become the worst owner in sports.
Ooh.
Oh.
I'm leaving that.
Oh.
There's a guy out west that is despised.
He's pretty bad, and he was bad here.
Yeah.
But he won.
He did win. I got to give him that.
I mean, this guy is clueless, David Tepper.
How many quarterbacks has he gone through since he took over?
Well, I heard the stat yesterday that since leaving Carolina, Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold have combined for 42 touchdowns and 16 interceptions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and also they've gone through a lot of coaches, too.
Yep.
During his tenure.
Yeah, and Frank Reich didn't even make it a season.
Was it 6 or 8?
It's been a lot.
Different
7
coaches.
years, I think it's 6 coaches.
That's amazing.
That to me falls in the ownership. I will say Stan Kroenke, very hated. I think another one you have to look at is just Jimmy Haslam.
Yeah, he's
with
pretty
that
bad.
contract
Cleveland.
with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. Yep. I'll tell you
that's
what.
Up there.
This is sacrilege, but it's true. The best thing for Bryce Young would be to get traded to the Rams and spend time with Sean McVay.
You think so?
I think so, and especially with the age of Matthew Stafford. Bryce Young has the talent, and that's the McVay is the guy that he straightened out Baker Mayfield.
The only thing I would worry about is how much longer is McVay going to stay?
Yeah.
You know, what's the appetite for him to be a head coach? Because they're not going to be any good. They're getting older. Right. Stafford could be out the door, and then all of a sudden you're left with this roster that is not going to do a lot, and he's going to have TV offers. He can go do what he wants.
Right.
Go find a play. Take a year off and come back somewhere else, and you have a chance to win.
Yesterday, Dave Canales, the coach of the Panthers, said when asked about the possibility of trading Bryce Young, he said that's not something we're considering right now.
Yeah.
The trade deadline is a couple of months away.
It's so ridiculous how they're handling this entire situation. All right, take it or leave it. We heard Greg say that he wants to bring back Ryan Helsley on a contract extension this offseason. So the Cardinals will bring back, this is my take it or leave it, Ryan Helsley, Paul Goldschmidt, Lance Lynn, and Kyle Gibson. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that.
I'm going to leave it too.
Any of those that you can see that they will bring back?
I could make a case for all of them to bring him back.
I think Helsley...
I don't think you can run this back after the record that you have right now.
I think Helsley starts the year here. I don't think they trade Helsley during the offseason. But it is easy, as we've seen when the Cardinals have won, to find a closer. And the Cardinals have young people that have strikeout stuff. But if I'm the Cardinals, number one, as much as I love Paul Goldschmidt, he's done it for a month and a half. I don't know if the 4.5 months is real. Actually, more than 4.5. 8.5 because of last season. I don't know if the 8.5 months are real or the bad or the 1 month and a half of good. They just need to. Here's my thing. As much as I like Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson, they aren't getting better, and they aren't getting younger, and they aren't getting healthier. And so while I like having those guys on my team when I have a legitimate chance to win, I don't think I have a legitimate chance to win, and I want guys that are going to hit their stride when my team is ready to win.
Well, the value of Helsley is high because he's one of the most dominant closers in the game. I guess one of the things you could look at is you say, we're looking to dump some payroll, so if you want Ryan Helsley, you're going to have to take this contract on, whoever that may be. You know what I'm saying? I mean, throw Michaelis in there, or throw a name that you are frustrated with that is going to make some money next year. That's one of the ways to look at it with Ryan Helsley. All right, take it or leave it. Since we're talking Blues hockey, we need to be talking Blues hockey. We're out at the rink for their opener of their season. So the Blues make the playoffs this year. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
I'm going to take it also.
I think they do. I think they get in. They were close last year. I think a lot of it depends on Bennington, obviously. And if he's close to where he was a year ago with the new additions they've made, I think they make the playoffs. I really do.
I really like the competition that you will have going into training camp, too, which we'll talk about throughout the day. But you have a good mix of young players and then some of the veterans coming back. There's a lot of good competition here.
Yep. All right, Matthew, let's get a text in there.
Take it or leave it. Mason Wynn will become the first Cardinals 30 for 30 player, or 30 by 30. 30 and 30.
A 30-30 player.
30-30 player. There you go.
30 stolen bases, 30 home runs.
Did Ray Langford do that?
I think we've done a fight question where he either did it or just came just short. Maybe there hasn't been a 40-40 Cardinal. I think that
there's not been a 40-40.
That might be the.
I thought Langford did it.
Pretty sure.
Langford did. No, he had 31-26.
Huh.
He did 20-40, 20 home runs, 42 stolen bases. But after, his highest stolen base count within over a 20 home run count is 35-21. But yeah, 31-26 is the closest he ever got to being a 30-30 player. I think we've done a fight question where which Cardinal got the closest, and it's Ray Langford.
Yeah, I'll take it then.
You'll take
You think he's going to be 30-30?
Yep. It's easy to hit home runs in baseball now.
Not at that ballpark.
I will leave it. But I think
Lynn.
maybe he at least gets close-ish.
2020 for sure.
I could see that. Yeah.
Maybe 25-25.
He hit his
But
15th
30-30 is a
home run
lot.
last night.
What's that?
Did he hit his 15th home run?
Yeah. I think the team leader is 21 with Burleson and Goldie.
Yep.
You have to go back to
14.
Tom Brunansky to have this low of a total for the team leader in home runs.
Wow.
That's going back a ways.
It's Bruno.
Yeah. That's a while ago.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.
Coming up, we've got our fresh take here on 101 ESPN.
Listen to the opening drive all this week for your chance to win a pair of tickets to this Saturday's Cardinals game, featuring a special hat giveaway celebrating the greatest show on turf. Fans with a special theme ticket will receive an exclusive cap giveaway, or they can upgrade their experience with an autograph session featuring members of the legendary 1999 championship team. Keep listening to the opening drive for your chance to win a free pair of tickets this week, and get all the details on this Saturday's special greatest show on turf theme giveaway at the Cardinals game right now at cardinals.com/theme.
WXOS, WXOS HD1 East St. Louis, 101 ESPN is driven by Auto Centers Nissan, home of the lifetime warranty and 30-day return. This is the opening drive on 101 ESPN, brought to you by Sumner One. A fresh perspective on the day's top stories. It's the opening drive's fresh take.
Edition of the fight today. So if you'd like to participate in the fight, all you need to do is text in 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. And if you'd like to fight, just text in the word fight with your name, and maybe Matthew will pick you to fight me. Actually, I think Bradford Bruns might be picking the fighter today. Guys, it is 8:08. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Okay, let's talk hypotheticals here. And I know a lot of people, a lot of coaches, general managers, they don't like to talk hypotheticals. I do. I like hypotheticals a lot. So, in a hypothetical situation, Team Widget in Springfield is advancing the development, because there's a million Springfields, right? We aren't talking about any other. We're talking Springfield, Illinois, Springfield, Missouri, Springfield, Mass. One of those, not the other one. Is advancing the development process for young players more important for a franchise than finishing 2 games over 500? Should you look long-term, the long-term quality of your franchise, or historically at finishing 2 games over 500? What's more important?
I think advancing the young players.
Yeah, you got to develop players, right?
Yeah, and I understand the optics of it, because it's easier to say at the end of the season, hey, look, we finished above 500. I understand, especially for a manager, coaching staff, you don't want to be attached with a losing record, especially after last season where you have back-to-back losing records like that. But at the same time, in Springfield, of course, yeah. Yes, in this hypothetical scenario that you're putting out there. But I think it's more important to advance the young players and see what you have with them. Michael McGreevy, it's fantastic that we were able to see him last night. In 2 appearances now in Major League Baseball, he has pitched 10 innings and has only given up 1 earned run. I'm happy to finally see Michael McGreevy. We've been asking for that, because if you look at the playoff picture right now, the Cardinals are outside of that situation. So I think it matters more about seeing what you have with these young players, because even look at Mason Wynn last year. He comes up in September. He struggled here at the Major League level, but then he was able to take that experience into the offseason and knew what he needed to do to make sure he could be ready to go for this season. And look at how much it's paid off for him and the Cardinals.
I think it matters more here. I'm not saying it usurps development of players, but when you have back-to-back losing seasons, it sticks out like a sore thumb. I mean, there are some places you can have back-to-back losing seasons, and it's kind of like you shrug your shoulders. It's no big deal. And we may see this player. We're trying to develop, grow with us, all that kind of stuff. But I think it matters here. I don't think it, though, is more important than advancing young talent and trying to develop them. I mean, I love what I see out of McGreevy. It's great. He's made a couple of appearances. One to see more. It's only 10 innings in the big leagues, and that's the blink of an eye, and that's nothing. So, like they did with Mason Wynn, though, last year, very important. What you're getting out of Walker here for the finale of this season, I think is very important. A concern of mine would be the regression of Nolan Gorman. Would I want to see him maybe at the tail end of this year? Yeah, because I want to see these young guys, and I'm trying to get them experience. So whether or not I finish 500, I do think it's different here. It wouldn't matter to me. I'm trying to develop young players.
It's all optics. And all we need to do is look at, so we're talking 58-59 since the Cardinals have back-to-back full losing seasons. But in 75-76, they went 82-80 and then 72-90. So if you just flip 2 games, if you go 80-82 and 72-90, you've got back-to-back losing seasons in the 70s, right? You almost did it in the 80s. Now, ironically, in one of the years you won the World Series. You went 83-79 in 2006, and 83-78 won the World Series. Then the next year you win 78-84. But again, you were 5 games away from having back-to-back losing seasons. So it's all optics, and I'm with you guys. I want to see, and let's localize this. Let's take the hypothetical out of this situation and include Jordan Walker and Victor Scott and Michael McGreevy into this equation. If you localize it here and take it out of the hypothetical, I don't care if the Cardinals finish over 500 or under 500. I'd rather see those guys ready to take off and on the runway to being good next year.
So I want to throw this out there, and I'm with you, by the way, 100% on that. Have you guys seen enough of Michael Ciani to say that he has cemented himself as the guy to make Victor Scott sit on the bench?
No.
And so I want to see Ciani play. I look at him as still being a prospect instead of being solidified in the lineup. And I know a lot of people are saying, I want to see Victor Scott, I want to see him. I do too. But I'm not sold on Michael Ciani being my everyday center field. I got to see him play a little bit more before this season is through, too.
I'm with you. I agree with what Greg said earlier, too, about Victor Scott II being the future, especially of this. He has the higher upside. I think that he's still your center fielder. I think that he has some adjustments to make at the plate still, but he has shown that he's able to grow and still develop with everything that they have given him. So I think that he's still the future, but you do have to figure out what you have with Michael Ciani. You have to figure out what you have with this outfield in general, because to your point of what you brought up earlier too with Lars Nootbaar, do you know who Lars Nootbaar is too?
Nope. If somebody asked me to, who he is, I'd say, well, I don't know. Could be a really good fourth outfielder. Might be a starting center fielder. Can play right. Can play left. He's going to walk into 20 home runs maybe if he plays every day. I don't know. I don't know how you define him. I think it's still out to see what is going to happen with him.
Michael Ciani is a great defensive center fielder.
He sure is.
He's also a guy with a career minor league batting average in 6 seasons of 243 and a career minor league OPS in 6 seasons of 698. 698 minor league career batting average. It's obvious to me that Victor Scott's skill set, and he did steal 94 bases last year in minor league baseball, his skill set is better than Michael Ciani's. I would rather see the Cardinals, again, try to get the most out of Victor Scott and enhance his abilities rather than Michael Ciani.
I think I'm there. I want to see more of Ciani. I'm not sold on him being an everyday center fielder. I think he could be an unbelievable fourth outfielder for you because of its defense first and coming off the bench, which was what they thought. Well, at the beginning of the season, I'm not sure they felt that he was even going to be on the major league roster. Then they were forced because of injuries to put him on that roster. But he would have been my fourth outfielder, and obviously it turned a different direction, and good for him. But I'm still not sold on him being an everyday center fielder, and I'm with you. I think Victor Scott, his upside might be better.
A question for you guys, and I'm not trying to throw an excuse out here because this also goes for teams outside of the Cardinals when we're talking about this hypothetical, but do you think that the way that it's structured, where in September you could expand your roster to a 40-man roster, but now because of the changes, you're only adding, I believe, 2 players in September. Does that make it harder for teams to evaluate their younger talent because you can't have that expanded roster like you had prior to 2020?
Well, one of the things I would have loved to have seen with a roster that would have been expanded is Victor Scott pinch running and going to steal bases. Show up at first base. You can't steal first, so don't have to worry about him getting on, but he would be a weapon down the stretch of any team that's looking to steal bases. And I wanted to see more of that when he was up with the big league club, too.
That's why Adron Chambers was here in 2011 and won a postseason game for the Cardinals because of his speed.
Absolutely.
Dan, Brooke, Randy, and The Fight next on 101 ESPN.
It's time for a DraftKings at Casino Queen Redbird report on 101 ESPN.
Pulling away from Pirates late, I'm Bradford Bruns with your Redbird report. It was a topsy-turvy Game 3 downtown, but eventually the hosts left no doubt. St. Louis blasting Pittsburgh last night 10-5 as Derek Shelton's relief corps took heavy damage. Mason Wynn and Jordan Walker keyed STL's 6-run 7th inning. Number 0 smacked his 14th homer of 2024, while Walker's bases-loaded double provided ample insurance for Michael McGreevy. Promoted from AAA Memphis mere hours earlier, Ollie Marmol's newish righty option notched those final 9 outs this evening. Eric Fetty could help secure that coveted series sweep. He opposes 25-year-old righty Luis Ortiz, whom Kansas City hammered 1 week ago. Cardinals-Buccos first pitch arrives at 6:15.
The Redbird Report is presented by DraftKings at Casino Queen. Play, stay, dine at DraftKings at Casino Queen.
Hey, I want you to know about what's going on at Fenton Bar and Grill, because not only do they have the best trash wings in town, the best trash wings in the world, but they have a fantastic menu for you. And if you want to get out, enjoy a fabulous patio, maybe stop by and have a happy hour, 6 great happy hour items for $6 a pop, or just have a wonderful dinner, stop by the Fenton Bar and Grill. And their manager, Chuck Nash, is a sports guy. As a matter of fact, he's headed to Clemson for his 40th reunion of their 1984 men's soccer national championship team. He and 7 other St. Louis players represented St. Louis really well in winning the national championship for Clemson. So he's a big soccer guy. He loves St. Louis City SC. And if you want to go see Mizzou football on a Saturday, the place to go is the Fenton Bar and Grill. They've got 10 TVs. They'll set it up so that you can see whatever team you want. And, of course, it's going to be mostly Mizzou. And you'll be able to share that experience with other Mizzou fans at the Fenton Bar and Grill, just 2 minutes away from the soccer park. Easy to find, the Fenton Bar and Grill on Rudder Road. Learn more at FentonBarandGrill.com. And when you go, tell them Randy sent you.
Enter your picks for this week right now at 101ESPN.com.
Refreshed by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy.
More Blues talk, more often. 101 ESPN is live from the Centene Community Ice Center. Brought to you by Bud Light and E&B Granite. Bernie Federko's only choice for granite countertops, cabinets, and flooring.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. Brooke, Dan, Randy, and Rockio here, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter this morning is Jack. Jack, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. I'm really nervous.
You're really nervous? Why are you nervous?
Yeah, I listened to this show for too long, listened to too many people lose, so The pressure's on.
Let me turn on my mic. You know, the pressure is on, Jack, but this should be a kind of situation where you're ready to enjoy it, have fun with it. Randy has stepped out. He's having his grapes. He's going to destroy those, but don't worry about it. Just have a little fun, my man, and enjoy the fight.
All right, perfect.
All right, deep breaths, in, out, and trust your gut. That is the best
cool
way to go about it.
Cool as a cucumber. I'm ready.
Attaboy.
Okay.
All right.
Here's question number 1, Jack. Who is the only teenager to win a scoring title in major American sports? In this exercise, a batting title counts as a scoring title. Is it Kevin Durant, Al Kaline, or Sidney Crosby?
I'm going to take Sidney Crosby.
All right. Question 2. In NBA history, there are 2 teams in league history to win only single-digit games in a season. The 76ers and who else? Is it Detroit Pistons, the LA Clippers, or the Charlotte Bobcats?
Take the Clippers.
Final answer?
Final answer.
On to question 3.
All right, question 3, Jack. Following the Senators' move from D.C. in 1960, which National League team almost moved there in 1974, including new uniforms being designed under the names Washington Stars and Washington Nationals? Is it the San Diego Padres, Milwaukee Braves, or the Houston Astros?
Take the Milwaukee Braves.
And question 4, which 20-year vet owns the Major League Baseball career record for pinch hit home runs with 23? Is it Lenny Harris, Willie McCovey, or Matt Stairs?
Ooh, the shot in the dark. What was the first one?
Lenny Harris.
Let's take Lenny Harris.
All right. We're going to grab Randy, who is apparently pounding some donuts with his grapes. Somebody brought him donuts. That's very nice of them.
Coming in with the donuts. How are you feeling, Jack?
Not great. I was really hoping it's Thursday. We get some football questions, and so kind of a lot of shots in the dark there.
Oh, man. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense, especially with Thursday night football. Maybe Rocky would throw some in there, but here comes Randy now with his second propel. And a donut in hand, and the grapes are gone.
I did not even get to the grapes. Jason Coomer.
Oh, you didn't?
Jason Coomer, the outstanding athletic director at the Lindenwood University, coming over to see his women's team practice today. And
nice.
He brought some donuts by, and so, yeah, we've got donuts over there on the table.
It's very nice of him to do that.
He's a good guy. And cookies. We've got football cookies and stuff like that. Very nice.
Nice. All right, Randy, say hi to Jack.
Jack, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Randy. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing. We appreciate it. Yeah. Dan is asking me if I'm okay. I'm trying to get into the zone here. I'm concentrating.
Oh, okay, good.
I'm good.
Well, now
I've never seen you focus like this.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're at a different spot. This isn't a home game for me.
That's true. You're on the road.
Yeah, right.
Yes, this is very different.
Crowd screaming. You're just trying to quiet them down a little bit.
All right, here's question number 1, Randy. Who is the only teenager to win a scoring title in major American sports? In this exercise, a batting title counts as a scoring title.
Oh, interesting. The only person to win a scoring title, and this is in the 4 major sports. Okay. So, and this would not include the World Hockey Association, I'm given to understand?
I am including NHL history in here.
Okay. So I will go with the great one, Wayne Gretzky. The old backhand pass. I'm going to go with the great one.
Are you ready for question 2?
Yeah, his brother, Brent, his nickname is the good one. Okay, I'm ready.
In NBA history, there are 2 teams in league history to win only single-digit games in a season. Mm-hmm. The 76ers and who else?
76ers went 9-73. Or no, 9-73. They played 82 games. Hold on here. 9-73 for the Sixers. There was, I'll do the lifeline, Dan. I think I know it, but I'm just going to make sure.
Detroit Pistons, LA Clippers, Charlotte Bobcats.
Okay. I think the Pistons might have gotten to 10 last year. I think I'm going to go with the Clippers.
Final answer?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
On to question 3.
Following the Senators' move from D.C. in 1960, which National League team almost moved there in 1974, including new uniforms being designed under the names Washington Stars and Washington Nationals?
This is a National League team that almost moved to Washington, D.C. in 1974. So you only had a few teams in the National League. You only had, at that time, a dozen cousin. So you had, wasn't the Cards, wasn't the Cubs, wasn't the Reds. At that point, the Brewers were too new, and Bud Selig wouldn't have moved. Well, they were in the American League at that time. Cards, Cubs, Reds, Braves, Mets, Pirates. Well, let's just do the divisions, okay? Because the Cardinals, Cubs, Phillies, Expos, Mets, Pirates. And then you had Reds, Braves, Doyers, Giants, Padres. I think I will go 1974. That's when Ted Turner bought the Braves. They had moved from Milwaukee. Doesn't seem like they would have been a team that would have been on the move at that time. So, but it wouldn't have been any of the West Coast teams. They were doing fine. It wouldn't have been the Mets, and I don't think it would have been any of the old schools. So we are left here, basically, with the idea of the Braves and the Astros, and I don't think the Astros were in a position to move either. So because they were in the National League, I'm going to go with the struggling Braves.
Final answer?
Yes, sir.
Question 4. Which 20-year vet owns the Major League Baseball career record for pinch hit home runs with 23?
23 pinch hit home runs by a 20-year. Current or former? Is he?
This would be former.
Okay, former 20-year. Okay, played 20 years in the bigs and hit 23 pinch hit home runs. I don't know if Willie Harris hit 23. I don't think John Milner, I don't think he played 20 years. Rusty Staub, I don't think he hit that many home runs. I don't think he had 23 pinch hit home runs. So now you're moving into Matt Stairs territory. I think I'll go with Matt Stairs.
Final answer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Matthew, it's your turn.
Well, there will be some controversy in this one, but we will have to go to a tiebreaker as we ignore the controversy because we don't got time for that right now.
Okay.
So let's go to the tiebreaker here. And on this tiebreaker, Jack, I'm going to read out the question. When I read out the question, we're going to give Randy Carricker a moment to write down his answer. Once Randy Carricker has written down his answer, we will confirm his answer. Then we're going to go to you, Jack, to get your answer audibly. And then we'll see who's closest to the pin for the win in this fight. Do you understand those rules, Jack?
Yes, I do.
All right, Randy.
I understand the rules. I just got to find a pen.
I know. I was.
Here, you want to borrow one?
I got one. I'm good.
He was looking for a particular one day, and I think it might be his
sure.
lucky pin.
One that was black. Yeah. Okay.
There we go. All right.
Let's play.
We talked about just the greatness of Joey Votto last week following his retirement. Just how many those walks are just so incredible. Joey Votto led the National League in walks 5 times across his 2,000 game career. How many total walks did he finish his career with? Joey Votto led the National League in walks 5 times across his 2,000 game career, 2,000 plus game career, I should say. How many total walks did he finish his career with? Just a moment on this one, Jack. We're going to get Randy Carricker to write down the answer.
Yeah. I'm a bad math guy. But I think I'll go with this number.
Sorry, let me write that down. All right.
I'll go with this number.
I got a number down for Mr. Randy Carricker. Jack, what is your guess, sir?
777.
All right. I actually do kind of have to do some math here for a second. You guys are both. You guys are both close in a very different way. So okay. All righty then. We have a winner in today's fight. I'm going to give Bradford a moment because I have to text him who's the winner in today's fight. You don't know. I'm not sure if he was keeping up with the math there. So we do have a winner in today's fight. Jack looking to take down Randy Carricker. An away game for Randy Carricker. Does Jack do it? Ring that bell.
The winner and new champion of the fight, Average Joe Listener.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis, with the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
Congratulations, Jack, on that one.
Baby.
The answer on Joey Votto, 1,365 total walks in Joey Votto's career. So, Jack, you were about 600 off. Randy was about just under 800 off. So you just barely beat him closest to the pin. Congratulations on the win today, sir.
Thank you very much. Just win, baby. That's what we do.
There it is. They don't ask. They ask how many. Let's go through the questions and the answers here. The only teenager to win a scoring title in Major American sports in this exercise, a batting title, counts as a scoring title. Kevin Durant was 21 when he won in the NBA. Al Kaline and Ty Cobb were both 20, but Kaline was younger than Cobb. And then I had this one down. This is where Randy's going to ding me. I'm the real loser in today's fight. Sidney Crosby was the answer we had down because he was younger than Wayne Gretzky, which is the article where I pulled it off. They said he was the only teenager in Major American sports, but they missed the great one who finished the season at 20 years old. Sidney Crosby, on the other hand, finished his season at 19 years old, which is where this grew up. But Randy Carricker is correct. He was a teenager when he started the season, which is where these things are always graded off of. So that's my mistake on that one. Wayne Gretzky was 19, starting his career, his first season in the NHL after leaving the WHL, hence Randy's question on that question. In the NBA history, there are only two teams in league history to win only single-digit games in a season. Is the 76ers, and before that, the hapless Charlotte Bobcats before they switched over to the Hornets. Following the Senators moving from D.C. to 1960, which NL team almost moved there in 74, including new uniforms being designed under the Washington Stars and Washington Nationals. It was actually prior to the Padres' sale to Ray Kroc. They were trying to sell the team, and it was actually Ray Kroc would come in and save them and keep them in San Diego. And which 20-year veteran owns the Major League Baseball career record for pinch hit home runs with 23? It is, in fact, Matt Stairs. Lenny Harris, who was Jack's answer, has the career record for pinch hits in a career. So a 1-1 tie there took us to the tiebreaker where Jack won that one. So, Jack, we will talk to you in the fight tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jack. Good to have you with us on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we are going to hear from Kevin Carter as we look back at 25 years since the greatest show on turf. KC next on 101 ESPN.
Don't miss Blues and Brews this Friday night at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. We'll be broadcasting live from 2 to 6, and Jamie, it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, it was awesome last year. So many people showed up. Such a great time. This year, they've got country music star Matt Stell along with our guy, Charles Glenn, and his band. Blues players going to be there. Lots of festivities. Carrie, it's going to be an amazing night.
It will be. It'll be a great time. Tickets are on sale now for Blues and Brews presented by Bud Light, 101 ESPN and 92.3 WIL. Find all the details now at 101ESPN.com.
It's the best time of the year. It's football season. It's my favorite time of the year for my daily fantasy with Underdog Fantasy. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by competing on Underdog, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats. The best way to do that is with the Streaks game. My streak died last night, but it's okay. I'm starting a new one today with my Thursday Night Football. I'm not only just going to go with the Streaks, but always with the Champions Pick'em. That's the best way to play on Underdog Fantasy, and that's what I'm going to be playing tonight with Thursday Night Football. I'm going to take Jacoby Brissett over on his passing, or higher on his passing yards with Jacoby Brissett, higher on the rushing yards with Breece Hall, and then we're going to keep on rolling with a little positivity. We're going to go higher on the receiving yards for Mike Williams as well. So we're going to take a little bit of positivity offensively with the NFL game tonight with Underdog Fantasy. Making picks on Underdog Fantasy is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog Fantasy's simple-to-use mobile app or to UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code ROCC, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first Cash Champions entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code ROCC to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus, present and stay where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Consumers to play. Co-owner and gambler. Visit www.ncbgambling.org.
Paid plus taxes and fees. Point is, in a world that is always costing more, you can get more for less right now at a St. Louis Verizon store. $15 promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
This is the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Brought to you by Sumner One.
McLaughlin and Brooke Grimsley. I'm Randy Carricker. It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN, your home of St. Louis Blues hockey. Blues starting training camp today here at Centene Ice Center, and then a game already on Saturday night. And the Blues president of hockey operations, general manager Doug Armstrong, kind enough to join us. Army, good to see you.
Well, thanks for having me on. Excited to be back to work.
I know everybody's excited. What's the first day like for you? Do you talk to the team? Take us through your first day of camp.
Well, it was actually yesterday, so we had a meeting last night at 5 o'clock. I talked to the group just about expectations of camp and of the season. It's a quick conversation, and now we just watch them go to work, and looking forward to seeing how the young players play in these first couple of games. The junior players, most of them will get an opportunity to play, and then we'll start to whittle this group down to a group that will likely play lots of games for us as the year goes on.
There's a lot to watch for in this training camp. A lot of competition that you brought in with these young players coming in, which I know that you like to do, especially with Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway coming in. We've talked extensively about how aggressive that move was with the offer sheets. Now these two are coming into training camp with high expectations, but what are your expectations for Broberg and for Holloway?
Well, they're first-round picks. They've developed at a nice pace in Edmonton. We think they're ready to be everyday players, obviously, with the contracts that we gave them, but also we're into a marathon, not a sprint. They're 22, 23 years old. We expect them to play for another decade or so. So we're not going to judge their first 3 games on how their career is going to go. We expect them to play well, but like most young players, we have a path with them. We think they're going to be in our top 9 and our top 4D right now, and how far they can go is up to them. But again, we're not looking for instant grading system on these guys or any of our young players, quite honestly.
Doug, was there players during the prospect camp and those games that stood out and you said, they maybe have a shot in this camp with the guys that you're going to have on the ice today? Was there anybody there? I know our fans are listening, but a name or two that really caught your attention?
Well, I would say the players that caught my attention are the players that were supposed to. I thought Dean and Bolduc played very well. I thought Dvorsky showed why he was a top 10 NHL pick. Lucas Fisher had a good camp. I thought he made some really quick outlet passes, had some turnovers too, which is expected for 18-year-old players. But I would say those three guys caught my attention, of players that have put the work in this summer that want to push for a roster spot coming into the season.
Army, you've told us forever about how the salary cap is a puzzle. It seems like with this camp, with so many players under one-way contracts, that the actual roster itself is kind of a puzzle this training camp. Is that the case?
Yeah, I don't think it's based on the salary cap. It's just, we added 2 players in August that, we didn't pencil into 100% guarantee. We knew the free agents, when you sign them, they're coming to you. This was a little bit different. So we probably have 26 guys thinking for 23 spots. So 3 guys are going to have to earn their way on the team or play their way off the team, depending on how they want to look at it. But we have the cap space. We're going to have the cap space next couple of years as the cap continues to grow and our young players are implemented into our system. And a little bit, we're the reverse of the Oilers. When the offer sheet was made, they decided to create cap space for themselves to make moves later on. We had cap space now, and we wanted to create an environment for us using that cap space. So the salary cap system certainly comes into play, and it works. And you saw the dynamics of it from the Oilers' perspective, ours, on when you want to use that space.
What did you hear from the rest of the league with the offer sheets? Because obviously it's something that you don't see that often. I do think that in NHL it would be great if you could see it more often. But did you hear from any of the other GMs about that when you made that move?
Yeah, we have a close fraternity. We talk. We're obviously very competitive with each other, and there wasn't a lot of dissent, I think. From my perspective, you want to do an offer sheet if you think you can get the players. I look at a couple of situations around the league. Detroit and Boston, for example, they had top-end restricted free agents, but they also left top-end dollar value for them. I think the Red Wings at one point had $17 million in cap space, and Boston around 9 or 10. I think what Edmonton they had used their cap space, I thought, very well on July 1st to improve their team, but they didn't have it they had to make decisions when we did what we had to do. So I think, excuse me, allergy season. I think what you find, there's not a lot of offer sheets because teams put themselves in position not to be exploited in that area, and it was a perfect storm for us this year, and we tried to take advantage of it.
Do players come in and they test today, Doug, or what's the day like for the players?
Today's on the ice. They're ready to go to work. All the testing, all the summer work has been judged, and now we're going to judge them on hockey play. And the guys had a really good summer. Our fitness levels are very high, but now it's back to hockey, and they're going to be judged on the competition.
Anybody catch your attention with their fitness level? Or all the guys? I mean, it's a 12-month job, but I mean, it's different than it was, let's say, 20 years ago. But now you can judge that kind of thing. Did anybody catch your attention with that?
He's referencing Big Walt.
Torpachenko looks great. He's the big man. He's just maturing into his body. Robert Thomas had a great summer. We haven't had anyone. You sort of look at. Unfortunately, the
other side.
Full. Yeah,
right.
I didn't see anything half full, which made me happy.
Army, you always like to get off to a fast start, but with a young team, and you're not only building chemistry, but guys are learning how to play at the NHL level too. Is it reasonable to expect that this is a team that, even if you don't get off to a fast start, it's going to ascend during the course of the season?
I think our younger players, quite honestly, have NHL experience, so I don't think it's going to be a situation where they've never seen it before. Even Bolduc and Dean, at least they got a cup of coffee last year. They know their way around a couple of the rinks at least. But you look at Texey, who we consider still young, and you look at Broberg and Holloway, they've been in the league. So now if a Dvorsky pushes away onto a team or one of those younger players, then it's new. But I don't think we're going to have a lot of brand new players that their first game this year will be their first game ever, but you never know. There's going to be young guys that want to prove us wrong on that. And
you always have Binnington between the pipes. That's such a difference maker, especially even if they've played. They don't have a ton of experience. he can save a lot for you, right?
Well, I think both goaltenders.
Yeah.
I really think our tandem is in the top third in the league. And I think that internal competition there, though it's returning competition, it's still competition. Hofer's done a lot in his young career, and he wants to push for more starts. Bennington obviously has won a Stanley Cup. I think that he wants to have a really good season. I think he has, not just him, but other players have aspirations for Four Nations and Olympics too. So there's other things that are motivating people, but I think that's an area that if they play to the ability that they expect to, and I expect them to, is going to be a certain benefit for our team.
This is a two-parter question because I was listening to your press conference yesterday during the media day, and you mentioned that you hope to see this organization regain some stature in the league. So what do you mean by that statement? And also, do you think this offseason got you closer to that goal?
I'll answer the second question first. I think it did. I think that we just added experienced players, whether they were experienced like Suter or Fasca or experienced like Holloway, Broberg, Texia, younger experience. When you're going through what we called a couple of years ago as a retrench, retool, whatever, you have to take time. But I do believe that, and we talked about it as a group, that, it's time for us to talk a little less and do a little more. I think that, we expect to be competitive with all teams in the league now. We don't have that younger group that we're concerned about, and I have high expectations for this team.
Doug, what about Drew Bannister being able to start with a clean slate, so to speak, at the beginning of the season, and how that can affect, not adversely, but in a positive way, the coach, the coaching staff, and the players trying to get used to him as we move forward? Yeah,
mid-season coaches changes are always difficult because, you don't make those because things are going great. But right now, coming in, he's had an opportunity to talk to the players away from the rink, and that happens in the summer, getting to know them, getting to know their families a little bit, understanding what makes them tick away from the rink, and also going to put his stamp on practices right now, what he expects. He's a demanding coach, and I think we're going to see that today. And it's his team now, and he has to put his best foot forward. He knows our expectations. His expectations of himself are probably higher than ours. So I'm expecting a really good camp from him and his staff to push us again to get back to that area where we're most comfortable in the NHL.
All right, Army, last thing from me, and we appreciate your honesty all the time. We had to take it or leave it earlier, and you just mentioned you have high expectations. Take it or leave it, the Blues are a playoff team. Take it or leave it.
What I said to the players, we can't reach the goals that I have for our team if we don't make the playoffs. I have expectations.
All right, I'm making the playoffs. So thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. Have a great year, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Well, we always love your guys' support of the team, and thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Army. Doug Armstrong, Blues President of Hockey Operations, General Manager, with us on 101 ESPN. We always appreciate Army joining us on the show. Next up, we can we'll get you a little rush hour reset here on 101 ESPN.
Saturday, the Blues are back on ESPN with preseason play.
Shoots, he scores!
Blues and Stars, pregame at 5, puck drop at 6.
The wait is over!
Your exclusive home for Blues hockey is 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Danny Mac for Stewart's American Mortgage. If you're someone who is looking to purchase a home or refi, or if you're looking to consolidate some of that ugly credit card debt, maybe you don't know exactly what direction to go to in any of these things. Let's make it easy for you. You call Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. We've called him this morning. He's with us right now. And Stewie, we're talking about Federal Reserve numbers.
Danny, as predicted, the Federal Reserve went ahead and cut rates 0.5%. That's not mortgage rates, but mortgage rates do follow along a little bit as we go. The market was planning on this. This is good news. We're even going to potentially see a future rate cut before the end of the year. Now, the market already has this factored in. That means that if you have an interest rate in the 7s or the 6s, you could potentially get a refinance with no closing costs, save $50, $100, $200 a month on the payment. Yesterday, we locked in over 40 loans in one day. Customers are calling us, asking us. Existing customers were calling. Take advantage. Get on the bandwagon to save that money for free. You'll be way ahead of the game. Life is going to get better. More cash means more happiness.
So if it's a new home you're looking to purchase, he will get you to the closing table fast. Try 10 days. It'll get you the best interest rate possible. And he also has the bagel loan that can help you out, too. So you're asking, what is the bagel loan? If you borrow $200,000 or more, there's no underwriting fees, no appraisal fees, no title fees, no lender fees, and no closing costs. Stewart is your guy, and he makes it easy for you. Any questions on rates, the industry, the trends? Give him a call. Number to call, 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. Or Stewie, what else can you do?
Google the bagel loan.
NMLS number 226715.
ESPN Sports Center.
Training camp on tap for notes. Good morning. I'm Bradford Bruns with your Sports Center update powered by Saliga Heating and Cooling. In under 90 minutes, the Blues officially open training camp. 64 players decorate head coach Drew Bannister's roster, and you can hear from some of them as our programming day progresses at Centene Community Ice Center. Post-opening drive, BK and Ferrario will take over. Maryland Heights style. St. Louis already has preseason action this weekend versus Dallas and Utah, respectively. Baseball, Mason Wynn's Cardinals explode late, fending off Pittsburgh 10-5. A solo homer by number 0 preceded Jordan Walker's bases-loaded double before Jalen Beeks finally escaped that 6-run 7th frame. Michael McGreevy found himself called upon, immediately recording those last 9 outs. STL targets its series sweep shortly after 6 o'clock. This SportsCenter update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Wall-to-wall Blues coverage is right here. 101 ESPN is live from the Centene Community Ice Center. Brought to you by Bud Light and E&B Granite. Bernie Federko's only choice for granite countertops, cabinets, and flooring. We're recapping the biggest stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
Brought to you by James Carlton State Farm. Are your car and home insurance rates competitive?
Find out at carltoninsurance.net.
All right, we're going to talk to the chairman of the Blues, Tom Stillman, in about 15 minutes, and then we'll hear from Kevin Carter, the former Rams defensive end, and with the greatest show on turf celebrating its 25th anniversary, the opening drive has your shot to score a pair of tickets to Saturday's Cardinals game against the Guardians, in which the Cardinals will honor the greatest show on turf. A special hat giveaway celebrating the GSOT will be provided for you, and you can get all the details for Saturday's special greatest show on turf theme night at cardinals.com/theme, or you can simply go to cardinals.com/greatest show on turf. But now you can text in 314-399-9646 to win the tickets. 314-399-YO-HO to win the tickets for the Cardinals game. And we will take texter. Why don't we go with texter number 75 here? Okay. The Rams had the 4th-ranked defense in the NFL in 1999. And on that defensive line, they had undrafted free agent, our friend and former colleague here at 101 ESPN, DeMarco Farr. They also had 3 first-round draft choices, former first-round draft choices. Kevin Carter, whom we're going to hear from, Grant Wistrom, and who was the other first-round draft choice that joined Farr, Carter, and Wistrom on the 1999 Rams defensive line. Texture number 75, and you will get the tickets to honor the greatest show on turf Saturday at Busch Stadium.
Ooh,
and the Cardinals on Saturday, you get there, they might be shooting for their 6th in a row.
And you're going, right?
I am going on Saturday, yes.
Yeah, you want to see the greatest show on turf. Are you going to the Isaac Bruce Foundation night, too?
I am not. We have Blues and Brews coming up on tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Is going to be at the gala, though.
I will be, yes. I got invited by a friend.
All right.
A friend who is a huge, which you got to meet at the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
He is a huge Randy Carricker fan, but also a huge Rams fan. And every single year, if there's a chance to meet Isaac Bruce, he's all over it. And he invited me as one of his guests.
I emceed that gala last year, and Warren Sapp was the guest. Warren Sapp was unbelievable. I know, Randy, you're like, He was unbelievable. He was great. He was entertaining. He was fun. He was high energy. I know you don't like him because of a Tampa Bay connection, maybe. I don't know.
I never found him to be a very nice guy.
Okay. All right.
That's why I don't like him.
He was nice. He was nice.
That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah, he was great for the gala, so we had a good time.
Good.
Just keeping it real. He wasn't nice at all.
No, but that's okay. Some people just aren't.
Was this a media not nice kind of thing?
Yeah,
or?
it was. He was just a jerk.
Okay.
Just trying to be, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
By the way, Blues and Brews is tomorrow night over at Anheuser-Busch, and it's pretty cool. You can get fired up for the Blues season. It features live music from country music star Matt Still and St. Louis's own Charles Glenn Group. Appearances by Braden Shen and Jake Neighbors and Dylan Holloway. Philip Broberg's going to be there, Banny, Blues alumni, and all you need to do is go to 101ESPN.com for more information.
I love hearing from Doug Armstrong. We just had him on. If you just tuned in, you go back to the podcast. He was on at 8:45 with us. I just love his honesty. I mean, he's pretty honest, blunt, to the point, and I'm sure for him and for his staff, this is like Christmas morning. You're waking up, you're getting the presents, Santa stopped by, and you start up the season. It's going to be fun to see how it all evolves.
This offseason, with everything that he was able to do, the aggressive moves that he was able to make, especially with the offer sheets, does it change your expectations for the Blues now going into the season?
Here's why my expectations changed from maybe a playoff team. He's, as you mentioned, Dan, very honest. And last year he told us, hey, I hope we can be in the middle of the pack in the Western Conference, and I hope we can battle for the 3rd spot in the division, but maybe a playoff spot. And then Tom Stillman said, we aren't going to be elite. Well, when Doug Armstrong tells me I have expectations of making the playoffs, then I think they're a playoff team.
Yeah, I think with the additions that they've made, my feelings of the team in terms of where they're at, it's changed. I think like the Suter bringing him in is under the radar, even though he's got an unbelievable resume in the NHL. But a guy like that, the rusty nail, comes in with young players. I think stuff like that gets overlooked. Now, we talk about the offer sheets, and we should, because it's not something that's common anymore in the NHL, and they get a couple first-rounders coming back. I get it. I mean, that's exciting. But some of the things they've done under the radar, I think, are going to pay dividends, and that's what's going to make this fun to watch.
Even adding Claude Julien to your staff, because you do have a young coaching staff, too. And so even adding him and his experience to the coaching staff, I think, will make a huge difference, too.
Yeah, baseball, the Cardinals will play the fourth and final game of their series against Pittsburgh tonight at the ballpark after last night's 10-5 win. And that was tenuous because the Cardinals built up the lead 4-0. Then it was 4-2. And then Pittsburgh actually took the lead by a 5-4 count heading into the bottom of the seventh, where the Cardinals scored 6 and built themselves a 10-5 lead, and that's the score they won by last night. Sonny Gray, very good, 5 2/3. He allowed 4 runs on 9 hits, struck out 8, and didn't walk anybody, included among those 8 strikeouts his 200th of the season.
Yeah. I thought early in the game he was using his curveball more than the sweeper, which was kind of interesting to see how he approached that lineup, and a lineup that he's seen a bunch, whether it's been with Cincinnati or now here in St. Louis. But he knows the Pittsburgh Pirates. They know him. But it's a big night for Jordan Walker, and I think that's the story. Just seeing him continue to progress, comes up with some big hits. That's the storyline for me. As he continues to get better and better, what's the end of the season look like? Kind of reflect on it. Got sent down, brought back up, sent back down, now brought back up and having success. So that's the big takeaway from last night for me.
Jordan Walker, Mason Wen, your 2 young guys being able to come through in the game, I think that's a big point. Now, the Pirates bullpen is absolutely terrible, not trying to take away from anything, but man, they are bad. I was not expecting Bednar to really just struggle as much as he did this season.
He's had a bad year.
Yeah, he did get injured. I think it was in June, I believe, but he has had a really bad season.
By the way, Michael McGreevy got the win last night.
Right.
He went 3 innings. He allowed 2 hits, struck out 4, and didn't allow any runs. And right now, in his rookie campaign, his first year, he'll be a rookie next year, but he's 2-0 with an earned run average of 0.90 in just 10 innings. He's allowed only 1 run, struck out 7, and walked only 1.
I want to see more of him.
Yeah, me too, because I haven't seen anything that I don't like.
Yeah, and strike thrower. That's the other thing, too, is he's a strike thrower, so I want to see more of him. I don't know if I really don't care if it comes as a starter, he gets a start down the stretch, or as a reliever. Maybe more so as a reliever, because that's where I kind of have him penciled in if he makes the team next year. I could be wrong about that, because they could say goodbye to some of the veterans that they have and insert them in the rotation. But sometimes out of a bullpen, you get a better look because there's more appearances that he may get. So I just want to see more of him, whatever role that is. But let's see what he's got.
And there's a big question mark, too, about Lance Lynn and what happens with him. Obviously, going on the 15-day IL. Yesterday, they made that announcement, and we were talking about it prior to even knowing that news about if this would be it for Lance Lynn. Will he retire? Will he return for the Cardinals next season? Of course, he has a big decision to make here, but then when you realize he's been dealing with this knee issue, do you think that weighs in on this too?
I don't. I think it's, do you mentally just get to the point of you're shut down, or because I don't know the severity of the knee issue. You know, if it's just one of those things where it's not that big a deal, then I don't think that's why he retires. If it's something that all of a sudden requires surgery and the rehab is just going to be forever, then I think guys step away at the age of 37. So I don't know, what the severity is of that, but knowing him, he probably wants to play, and if he hasn't mentally shut it down, I bet there's a place that someone would say, yeah, we'll take a look at Lance Lynn. He throws strikes, he throws fastballs, and we get wins. And that's what he did at Busch Stadium. All he did was win. And so there might be a place for him.
And when you throw 2,000 innings and land on that knee at 280 pounds as often as he has, it's going to take a toll on your knee.
Yeah, absolutely. I just don't know, and it'd be irresponsible of us to say, well, the severity is this, and that's why he's retiring. We just don't know. But, yeah, you would think that knee has taken a pounding over the years.
A couple of other notes from baseball last night. The Brewers clinched the NL Central for the 3rd time in 4 years, and the Yankees clinched a playoff spot, too. The Yankees-Dodgers are weird because their starting pitching has been a mess, and they both had good statistical starting pitching years, but in terms of injuries, both teams have had a mess. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the Yankees and Dodgers wind up in the World Series against each other.
I'm with you. The Dodgers actually have 5 guys now, and Yamamoto's one of them, that only 2 have thrown over 90 innings. So you're going to get a fresh staff.
One of them is Glasnow.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So you're going to get a fresh staff going into the postseason, which is something that all teams look for. They're always like, man, we need some fresh arms. Well, it looks like the Dodgers are going to get that.
And I don't know if you guys saw this, but Tommy Edman has been doing really well for the Dodgers, too. Another 2-run homer for him.
Yep.
He is having a blast with the Dodgers, to say the least. And Jack Flaherty has been doing well, too. I know the other day he didn't have a great outing. I think he only lasted 3 innings. But prior to that, he has been great for their starting rotation.
I think I could root for the Doyers because of Edman and Flaherty in the postseason.
It's a little hard. I wish them the best individually, but I don't know if I could root for the Dodgers.
Yeah, they're paying so many guys here, Randy. They're overpaying for everybody. I mean, come on.
But here's the thing. Sure, they've paid guys a lot of money. But Glasnow isn't there. They traded for him. They traded for Mookie Betts, right? They traded for Tommy Edman. They did a great job of scouting a guy like Max Muncy. They went out and bought Freeman. They bought Yamamoto and Ohtani. They bought them, but they've done a lot of really good development in that organization, too. I'm not going to begrudge them for having money.
Oh, I'm not taking away from it. Matter of fact, I love that they spend money. I think it's,
a lot of money.
You know, some people look at it and say it's bad for the game. I don't know, man. If you want to keep up with the Joneses, spend some money. You're going to have to do that.
Well, and also, too, we discussed this off the air one day, but how much money do you think they're getting back from Japanese advertising?
Probably more than they're spending on Ohtani.
So I was told that they will get that money back. So over the course of the contract, he will do enough endorsements, or the club will have enough endorsements because of him that would pay for the contract.
Wow.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be shocked, but
he's an international star.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of it.
Yeah. When you look at, and we're going to get to Tom Stillman here in just a few moments, but I just want to look at the Doyers last night. Ohtani, free agent signing. Betts, a trade that used prospects to get. Teoscar Hernandez, just a budget buy in free agency. That's certainly not checkbook baseball. Freddie Freeman, a free agent. Edman, a trade. Will Smith, you developed. Pages, you developed. Kike Hernandez, you got in a steal of a trade. Chris Taylor is a guy that you picked up in a steal of a trade. Gavin Lux played in that game, developed. Muncy, you stole from Oakland because of your superior scouting ability. Kiermaier is a budget buy at the end of the season. And then pitching-wise last night, Dak started. He went 5 innings. They developed him. Joe Kelly was a budget buy in free agency. And then people like Logue developed. Trinan, budget buy in free agency. Kopech, trade. And then Honeywell developed. They have more players that they've developed on that team than they have bought.
Yeah.
Or traded prospects for.
It's just the guys that they bought. It's
are
like,
good.
Wow. Yeah, really good and really expensive.
Yeah, you aren't seeing Brett Cecil on the Dodgers.
Oh, no.
And you can get away with some of those, too. You can get away with some of the guys that you bring in, you know, that all of a sudden don't work out, and you can spend and say, well, just didn't work out. We can swallow that contract. No big deal.
That is today's Rush Hour Reset. Blues Chairman Tom Stillman that joins us next here at the E&B Granite Studios at the Centene Community Ice Center on 101 ESPN.
Where St. Louis gets its sports. WXOS, HD1 East St. Louis, 101 ESPN. From the opening drive, the balloon party, BK and Ferrario, to the fast lane and more. If you missed anything on 101 ESPN today, get caught up with all the shows and 101 podcasts at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app.
Driven by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers.
ESPN is your home for Blues hockey. And every month during the season, you can register to score a pair of tickets to an upcoming Blues game at Enterprise Center. New winners are picked every month throughout the season. Enter to win free Blues tickets now at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app. We're back to more exclusive Blues talk. 101 ESPN is live from the Centene Community Ice Center. Brought to you by Bud Light and E&B Granite. Bernie Federko's only choice for granite countertops, cabinets, and flooring.
Welcome back to the Centene Community Ice Center, the E&B Granite Studios, here on 101 ESPN. Dan McLaughlin, Brooke Grimsley, Randy Carricker. Great to have you with us on this first day of Blues training camp as the Blues get ready for the 24-25 campaign. And we are joined in the E&B Granite Studios by our friend and the chairman of the St. Louis Blues, Tom Stillman. Tom, good to see you. How you doing?
Great. How are you?
Everything's
good. To be
Thank
here.
you.
Thanks for having
Hey, Tom.
me. How are you?
Good to see you.
Okay, so I'm gonna just ask this right off the bat because we just had Doug Armstrong in here, and I said, "What are your expectations?" He said, "I said, "Do you expect to be take it or leave it? Do you expect this to be a playoff team?" He said, "My expectations are high." So we had that earlier on the show. Take it or leave it. The Blues of 24-25 are a playoff team.
Take it or leave it. I'll take it. I think we'll be a playoff team.
There you go. Good. And what? Obviously, there's a lot of things that lead to and breed this confidence. What do you like most?
Well, one, we've got players who, veterans who have been around a long time and still have a lot. We have the younger veterans like the even Parayko, Thomas, Kyrou, who are not Parayko's beyond coming into his own. He's already there. But the others who are still developing and, I think have more to give. And now we have these, this younger core. Come in this year, and also Bolduc and Dean from last year, who are really going to be pushing things, and they're going to be increasing the competition internally. They're going to increase our speed, our skill level. I mean, I think we're a different team that way. I don't mean that, we've turned the corner and we're all set now, but we made some serious steps in development.
Yeah, there's a lot of different changes this offseason, and we, of course, talked to Doug about his aggressive move that he made via offer sheets, bringing in Broberg and Dylan Holloway. When he talked to you about that idea that he wanted to do this, what was that conversation like?
I won't go into it too much, but I think he could maybe, and the others could immediately see a big smile on my face. I thought that was, when we first talked about it, and they wanted to make sure we were all on board on it, and I didn't have a lot of doubts on that score.
So what is your first day like? Do you address the team last night? You're watching practices. What's your first day like?
I'm watching practices. I stay out of addressing the team. I don't think I should have my my hands in that. I think that's getting a little too involved. So it is being aware of the preparation that's going into training camp, what the general plan is, and then coming out and seeing how it all develops.
Is there a player or two that you cannot wait to watch that maybe isn't on the radar of, the big names that we hear about? Is there, a player or two that Tom Stillman says, I can't wait to watch these guys play?
I in these situations like to look at see the youngest guys, Dvorsky, Bolduc, Dean. Some of our other younger players can't be here because they're playing in Europe or in college, so you don't get to see them. But there's some other words, like some of these, I'm not sure I'm saying his name right, Perkacek and Keskamaki, some of these guys that can really fly and are really skilled. And, the kid for BU scored the goal shoveling behind the goal. I mean, these kids, they can push. I don't mean that they're going to be here this year, but you're getting a really good look at the depth of talent that we have for the future.
Tom Brook made it to the media day last week, and every year there's something at the building that's better, whether it's concessions or physical aspects of the building that are better. The product on the ice is great. When you walk around and compare it to when you took over in 2012, 2013, how much pride do you take in the renaissance of this franchise and the building too?
Well, yeah, I think we all in the organization take pride in it. It's been, quite an evolution over the last 12 years. I have to, point out that, give a lot of credit to the guys who are head of the two sides, Chris Zimmerman on the business side. When you talk about the building, really pushing that, including, that's not an easy thing to fund. And Doug, just increasing our our standing in the league as a competitive team and as a well-regarded program. So it's a lot of work by a lot of people, but it's good to look back every once and see where we've come from.
There's also been changes too. We're talking about the new players coming in, but on the coaching side as well, bringing in Claude Julien. What will he bring to this staff?
One, he brings a really friendly, smiling face, and he could tell stories and just such an amiable guy. But, if you're kind of youngish coaching staff and you look back and you see a guy like that who, seems like just really open to teach and counsel, and, I just think it gives people, kind of another level of confidence, another level of advisor to go to kind of, what have you seen in this situation? I also think it's a real statement by Drew. I think probably a lot of coaches wouldn't be that comfortable with somebody so knowledgeable, so experienced on the bench, and I think that was a good move.
Tom, I want to go back to the signing of the RFAs, and when the moves were finalized in Doug Armstrong's press conference, he was saying, "Hey, my responsibility is to the St. Louis Blues fans." That was the first thing he said. It wasn't to you, it wasn't to the organization, it wasn't to my first responsibility is to the St. Louis Blues fans, and I know that you have that approach too. How do you manifest that approach from your perspective, that responsibility that you do have to this fan base, and like you said on the day that you took over the team, that it's essentially a community trust?
Yeah, and we didn't buy a plumbing supply company. We bought an enterprise in which a lot of people have a big emotional investment, and it is important to the city's economy, mentality, everything. So if you're going to get into something like that, then you have to consider the fans and the public at large part of your constituency, part of your stakeholders. And I'd say we don't do that by, if we do, reading the comments and say, well, we're going to get criticism there. It's not that way. It's more, what's going to be the best thing for the future of the Blues, short-term and long-term, even if, in a lot of cases, that's not something a lot of people want us to do at that time. And, evaluating things in that light rather than, I don't know. In Doug's case, he could say, well, that's not good for me. It's going to be a down year if I do this. And he's done the things that have been best for the Blues. And that's how we've tried to look at it. What's going to be best for the Blues and all their stakeholders, number one among them, fans and supporters, going forward.
Well, we really appreciate your openness and your accessibility, and we're excited about getting camp started and getting another season started.
Can't wait. Really great to see guys on the ice again.
Great. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's the chairman of your St. Louis Blues, Tom Stillman, here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, it is the 25th anniversary of the greatest show on turf, and we'll hear from former Rams defensive end Kevin Carter next on 101 ESPN.
And With Alex Ferrario, I'm Brandon Kiley. We are broadcasting live this week at the Centene Community Ice Center, where the Blues are back, baby. It is officially hockey season. Be sure to tune in this week live from 11 to 2 o'clock. BK and Ferrario broadcasting from the Centene Community Ice Center for Blues training camp.
Absolutely, BK. It is exciting that hockey is officially back, and I can't wait to start the season off with training camp and see you all out at Centene Community Ice Center. It's refreshed by Bud Light for the fans on game day, and it's brought to you by E&B Granite, Bernie Federko's only choice for granite countertops, cabinets, and flooring.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Stay up to date on all things Redbirds with Cardinals broadcaster Brad Thompson as he joins the Fast Lane every Wednesday on 101 ESPN. Go up and in with BT during high heat, powered by Scott Lee Heating Company, your preferred Mitsubishi electric elite contractor. Visit ScottLeeHeating.com, and by Rawlings. Visit the all-new Rawlings experience at Westport Plaza today. 101 ESPN Sports Center.
Blues dropping puck on camp momentarily. I'm Bradford Bruns with your Sports Center update powered by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Saturday already brings the Notes preseason opener against Dallas on 101 ESPN. But first, a little training camp action. Head coach Drew Bannister pilots practice number 1. About 25 minutes from now, the opening drive will give way to BK and Ferrario at Centene Community Ice Center. So expect several special guests as our afternoon progresses. Post-star St. Louis also draws Utah this weekend. Diamond business, Eric Fetty's Cardinals could secure their sweep of Pittsburgh tonight. Roughly 12 hours ago, STL romped past Eric Shelton's club 10-5. Homers by Brendan Donovan and Mason Wynn powered that 14-hit assault. Milwaukee, meanwhile, secures its third NL Central crown in 4 years. This Sports Center update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
This is the opening drive on 101 ESPN, brought to you by Sumner One. 25 years ago, greatness hit a new speed in St. Louis.
Fires up the middle, passes caught to Isaac, driven, and he's gone.
And the gateway to the West became
The gateway to the best football team in the world.
from the lowest lows
Green went down hard and is not getting up.
to the highest highs.
Mike Jones made the tackle, and the Rams have won the Super Bowl.
And every unbelievable moment in between.
Touchdown, Ricky Prohl in the corner.
Every piece of the 99 season felt like a story. And today, we continue the legend of the greatest show on turf.
Welcome back to the opening drive on ESPN, and we continue to celebrate 25 years of the greatest show on turf, the 1999 Rams Super Bowl victory. It's amazing that it's been 25 years, and we get a chance to visit with one of the Pro Bowlers from that team, defensive end Kevin Carter, who's now with CBS Sports as an analyst, always a great analyst of football. Kevin, good to have you with us. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Randy. This is a privilege and a pleasure.
Well, I look forward to our conversation. And I remember Dick Vermeil got hired, and you had, because of an experience at Florida, you had met Dick Vermeil. But going into 99, what were you thinking? Do you remember what your thought process was in regards to your team being able to be competitive?
I think we were at a breaking point just within our team, either for something good or for something bad. I think that's the best way to characterize it. I mean, I was excited the day that Dick Vermeil walked in to be our coach. I knew him from college. He had a kind of an old sense of magic, of manifesting, of just that old team spirit. He represented the pureness of football that had quickly left my world as I went from, being a very successful college football player on a very successful team to the reality and the business side of the NFL. And, the fact that it's not all candy canes and rainbows and not everyone wins. And it's a business and it's a lot more complicated. So he came in at a time for me personally that was great, right? You kind of get your heart broken a little bit when you first get in the NFL and you realize that it's so much harder and it's such a business. But then when you meet a man like Dick Vermeil, who restores the love, the manifestation of greatness, the togetherness, the esprit de corps, when you meet someone like that, it kind of puts wind in your sail. But for that reason, having been heartbroken and then having gone through, trying to believe in something that was just so far-fetched and manifesting to make happen, we were going into that season at a breaking point. Something good was going to happen or something really bad was going to happen. And so we were really in the middle of training camp that year, and that's when everything kind of changed. We changed the way we did things just ever so slightly, because we were trusted, we had gained and given ourselves kind of the right or the lease or the loan on greatness. We had given ourselves permission. We paid our dues. We formed our trust, and we had the pieces, and that year, going into that 99 year, everyone felt we were ready. We finally had everything that we needed. We had Marshall. We drafted Torrey. We had, the years prior, we had drafted, Orlando and Grant Wistrom. And we had Oz Hakeem. We had Tony Horn. We had all these people and pieces of people trying to be great. And it's like, and we were so knocking on the door. And like in 98, like we had so many hard losses, 1 point, 1 possession losses that season. And man, 99 was a ripe, fertile time where we grabbed a hold of our belief, and once we took off and started to run with it, like no one could take it away from us because of the way that we had organically built that trust or esprit de corps or whatever you want to call it.
And I want to stick on that term, esprit de corps. Do you think that the way that you guys had to work, how hard DV worked you in 97 and 98 helped build that?
Of course it did. I mean, obviously you build through hard work, and you build through tough times, and the adversity helps to shape things. But yeah, I mean, if you don't ever see something through like that, if you never have the success on the other side, then it's hard to believe in that process. But whenever you're trying to do something that's, I don't know, that's special, that is seemingly unattainable, that even even in the rare space of making it all the way to the NFL, like, who gets to win a championship? Like, who gets to be a part of a playoff team or a playoff run? It's like it's so rare. They're so few and far between. I mean, I played 14 years in the NFL, and I went to one Super Bowl. You know, and it's like it's than one would think. So, yeah, what we went through in those 2 years totally loaned itself, you know, to us winning a championship. Without those 2 years, we would not have had that. We wouldn't have had the type of trust, esprit de corps. We would have not. We wouldn't have formed that hunger. And those that were there, I mean, I think there were 12 or 13 of us that were on that original team when he walked in the door and took the reins to the organization that were there on the Super Bowl team. I mean, there's a lot of people that, you know, guys that I wish had been a part of our Super Bowl team. Like, I wish, like, man, like, I wish Roman Pfeiffer had been on our Super Bowl team. Like I wish that certain people, Toby Wright, you know, people that went through some of the struggles that we had, like, it would have been cool if those guys, you know, could have been there. But, you know, that's how special a moment in time winning a championship on any level, but especially in the NFL, really is, because you go through that not knowing if you're ever going to get a payoff, if you're ever going to see justification for how hard you worked, for what you put in. And the only reason I use terms like esprit de corps or camaraderie or things, because the reason I use those words is because those words were talked about every day. Like, we talked about being that team. Like Frank Gans, Jim Hanifin, Mike White, Len Stiles, you know, Carl Harrison. I mean, that whole crew that Dick Vermeil brought in, like, they were all, you know, they were the Magnificent Seven. You know, they were these guys who talked this talk about a game of yesteryear that no one was investing in that anymore. Like, no one did that anymore. And it's just like, you know, Carl Harrison was the most unrelenting, like, had the most unrealistic standard for what I was supposed to be able to do on the field. And, like, he said it so nonchalantly, like, and it was just what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to produce greatness. I was supposed to be great. We were supposed to do these things. And yeah, so what we went through in those 2 years definitely, you know, provided the groundwork. But without those 2 years, I don't think you would have made, or we could have created such a special moment in time.
At what point did you realize that your team was really special? Obviously, you mentioned how good the defense was and all the players that they acquired offensively during the offseason. Was it before you got on the field with other guys, or after you got on the field, or maybe in a game where you thought, hey, this team can really do something?
It was a cumulative type process. I think we found our strength on defense kind of that year prior, and we've been playing pretty tough. I mean, and not just defensively, but there are parts of our team that really had a lot of pride. And, you know, and I think in 97 and 98, that kind of, especially in 98, it kind of came to a head in terms of who we were going to be on the field, regardless of, you know, anything that happened offensively, special teams, anything. Like, those guys on that defense, like Todd Light, we talked about Todd, we talked about DeMarco, we talked about like Keith Lyle, Mike Jones, like those guys together, London, like we didn't care. Like, we didn't care what anybody else did. We had a standard for who we wanted to be and what we wanted to bring to the field. And I think the thing that was most inspiring about that 99 season is that when I said what kind of told me we would be good, it's like everyone was fighting and clawing for a piece of that greatness. Everyone was trying to contribute, but not selfishly, not like, hey, look at me. Like, I know this team is great, but look at my contribution. It was more so an attitude of, I'm going to contribute to this greatness because I love this team so much. I love these guys around me so much that part of the reason that we win. And if someone needs a play, I'm going to make it. And everyone felt that way. And that was the thing. Like, so you never knew who it was. There were so many invaluable pieces. Like it's funny we talk about this. I was just watching, I get lost in these YouTube, old clips and highlights of all these old games and stuff. And I look up old games all the time, and I watch a lot of film in my line of work. And I go back, and I went back to the 98 season, and I'm watching, these games, and I'm seeing different people on our defense. I'm seeing different people on our offense. I'm watching those pivotal moments in games that turn the tide. And it's not always an Isaac Bruce or a Marshall Faulk or a Kurt Warner or a Kevin Carter making that play. Sometimes it's an Oz Hakeem or a Tony Horn or a Charlie Clemens or a Billy Jenkins, or it's a Robert Holcomb who breaks a tackle and goes for 30 yards and breaks the game wide open at that pivotal moment. You're like, oh man, I forgot that play. That's what kind of got us into that position. Oh yeah, I remember so and so made this play, and it's like you're always calling a different name. There was always someone adding to who we were, and we didn't care who got the glory, but we were all trying to be that guy to make us great. And I think that type of unselfish attitude, and obviously, but you don't have that type of magic. You don't have that type of camaraderie. You don't have that type of esprit de corps unless you go through some type of adversity. And we went through it. We earned it. That's why no one could take it away from us. That's why it stuck. That's why it was real, because we didn't just manifest it. We manifested it. We grew it organically.
Kevin Carter with us on the opening drive as we celebrate the greatest show on turf. More coming up right after this.
The NFL is back on ESPN. Sunday morning, Vikings and Texans. Pre-game at 11, kickoff at noon. Your destination for the NFL in St. Louis is 101 ESPN. Blues talk more often. 101 ESPN is live from the Centene Community Ice Center. Brought to you by Bud Light and E&B Granite. Bernie Federko's only choice for granite countertops, cabinets, and flooring.
Former Rams defensive end Kevin Carter is with us on the opening drive. And Kevin, I'm amazed as I talk to you guys 25 years later, how often players have a vivid recollection of something that happened, a story on the sideline or in a practice. Do you have anything that stands out for you that happened, whether it was on or off the field?
Oh man, it's hard to think. Well, I don't know what I've told. I don't know what's out there.
Go ahead.
But shoot. You know what? I really don't have one specific story of an instance.
Well, what stands out in your mind's eye? What's your most vivid memory of that season?
I remember in the middle of training camp, we were practicing, and everyone looked around, and we knew we were better, right? Like we looked around, we saw we had Trent that had come in. We had a certain confidence within the operation of our offense and defense. We looked at each other from an offensive line and defensive line standpoint, and it was like, man, we're everyone had the same kind of chip on their shoulder, kind of a pissed off, angry attitude. Mm-hmm. That was like we're not losing anymore. Like there's not like this team is too good, and everyone felt it. And obviously, the one dynamic that's working with you, it can work for you or against you in training camp, is the adversity, is how hard the practices are. And, at that time, it was really no secret as to how the St. Louis Rams, practiced and what Dick Vermeil typically put us through to that point. Well, at that point in training camp, we were all kind of feeling the grumbling of, when you're good. And sometimes you also know as a pro what type of workload is unreasonable and what is sharpening and giving you an edge that can help you beat someone else. Like there's a real fine line between training too hard and stupidity. It's like it's one of those things. It's like this. You have to, and so talk about the trust. And I didn't know this was going to happen. None of us knew it was going to happen, but. One day in the middle of training camp, Coach Vermeil calls us all up and literally gives us a speech, sheds some tears, throws us a party, for lack of a better word to describe it, but throws us a party that night, kind of gives us the evening off from meetings. And then the next day when we come back, our practice schedule, our time on the field, our workload, everything is completely different.
Wow.
Like our practice time is not cut in half, but it's cut significantly down. And we go to a more efficient, more trusted way of doing things. Almost kind of like the coaches back off and said, okay, you guys now take ownership of this. We're not going to work as hard. We're not going to hit. We're going to trust you that we know the difference and we know how to do this. We're a different team. We have arrived, so we have to act as though we've arrived at this point. This is what we've been banking on, and now you're ready. And so we literally had that revelation moment on the field as a team. We had the party that night. We ate pizza and had some pops at the Purple Pride, which was the Western Illinois University dive bar on the corner of campus.
Yep.
And from that part on, from that day on, everything was different, and everything that we've been trying to bring to manifestation made sense. The efficiency of our practices made sense. There were no drop balls, there were no missed assignments, and everyone was like. We grabbed a hold of it collectively as a team, and we choked the life out of it. No one was going to let that standard slip. No one wanted to relinquish control of what we knew we had at that moment. And it wasn't a think. It wasn't a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling. It was I feel sorry for whoever the hell we're going to play. Okay? Like, you don't have what we have. And I walked off the field after we lost that game to the Titans. It was a big showdown. in Nashville. I walked off the field cursing, spitting, crying, you know, as I usually am on game day. I'm a different person. And the spit's flying out of my mouth as I am cursing at Steve and God rest his soul, and, you know, John Runyon and Eddie George. I'm like, you mother effers better hope you don't see us again. You hope you don't see us again. We're gonna beat the crap. I mean, I'm hurling every obscenity at them.
I can't believe this.
You're lucky. You're lucky. You better hope you don't see us again. I'm like, it's okay, and because it was a sting of losing in the moment and basically what we knew we had. And every game that season, like, there was never any quit. Like, we came in 21 points down to the Titans. I remember Marshall Faulk was we were in the locker room, and, you know, we're frazzled, right? We never gotten our ass kicked like this in a long time. We were 7-0, you know, going in there, and no one says a word. No one bats an eye. I think Marshall gets pissed and turns over a table with a bunch of drinks and Gatorade and doesn't say anything, puts his helmet on, walks out. We get go back out on the field. You know, first drive, I think, of the second half, Marshall takes a swing pass and takes it the distance. And I'm on the sideline saying, you know, you guys have done it now. You assholes have done it now. We're coming to get you. You can't block me. You know, it was an aberration in the first half. But we had this, man. We had this strength, this belief, and it was real.
And fast forward then to winning that NFC West championship in Carolina. And I don't know if you could identify joy more than that photo of you and DeMarco on each side of Coach Vermeil walking off the field. The smiles on your faces just tell such an incredible story.
That's one of my favorite pictures. You know, when you have moments like that, like I said, few people, just a few moments in our life do you ever get, like, true either vindication or validation, or do you get the payoff for your efforts? Few times do we finally see something actually come to fruition that we've worked so hard to manifest. And, like, you're talking to someone who, I mean, I won 3 SEC titles in 4 years in college under Steve Spurrier. Like, my experience of, like, playing football and, you know, working hard and forming camaraderie, and it was all candy canes and rainbows, because, like, you worked hard, you tried hard, you had good people around you, and you all were on one accord, and you won. That's just what you did. And to get to the NFL and to be in a situation, not that it was a bad situation, it just wasn't, it didn't have the type of esprit de corps and togetherness that it takes to win a championship, you know, times a million, you know, with the complexities of the NFL game on that level. And being in an organization, you know, you're top pick, or you're not going to go to a good team, right? So I went to the 6th pick overall, and I go to a team that really is in flux and transition, moving from L.A. to St. Louis. But what you saw in that picture with me and DeMarco is, like, DeMarco and I were roommates when I first got there. Mm-hmm. You know, we lived together, and, you know, long 30-year friendship, you know, we've had. But it's like, you know, we've seen each other at the best, at the worst, you know, and you have life going on simultaneously while you're doing this. You know, we're getting married, having kids, going through life and stuff. And, you know, and if you're lucky, you know, you make the kind of relationships and make the kind of memories that you can always draw upon that last you a lifetime. If you're lucky, you get to be a part of something special. Mm-hmm. That will live on in infamy long after you're gone. And that picture was everything. That was the culmination of a dream come true. That was when Dick Vermeil walked in and said, in 3 years from now, we'll be world champs. Like, I believed. like Todd Light believed. Like DeMarco, he believed. And so, that picture, that was dream come true. That was full circle moment right there.
Well, we love it, and we love you, man. It's so great to hear your voice, and you contributed so much to this community, both on and off the football field, and we're forever thankful here in St. Louis for having Kevin Carter as part of our community, and because of what happened 25 years ago, you always will be.
Hey, thank you. I thoroughly enjoy my time in St. Louis, and it's always an honor and a privilege whenever I can get back.
That is the great Kevin Carter with us on 101 ESPN, and you, of course, can see him every Saturday covering college football on CBS. He was great. Next week, we're going to hear from Todd Light. Next week will be the anniversary of that win against Atlanta at home the week after Jamal Anderson got hurt, and you'll love hearing from Todd Light. He's a lot of fun. By the way, a bulletin that well, it's a deep tease. You're going to find out something that Todd Light provided that nobody knows except for us. We're going to find out next week. We thank you for being a part of the show. Great job by our producer, audio, video engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocchio.
Pleasure.
Brooke, did you have fun today?
Yes.
Danny, you're the
Great
best.
job. I love the Kevin Carter interview. Good
Thank
stuff.
you. And you can hear that, by the way. It's up at 101ESPN.com. We thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. Thanks to Bradford Bruns back at the studio for handling everything with aplomb today. We've got a balloon party with T-Mac and Ajax coming up for all of us until tomorrow morning at 7. Have a fabulous Friday Eve, St. Louis.
Listen to the opening drive all this week for your chance to win a pair of tickets to this Saturday's Cardinals game, featuring a special hat giveaway celebrating the greatest show on turf. Fans with a special theme ticket will receive an exclusive cap giveaway, or they can upgrade their experience with an autograph session featuring members of the legendary 1999 championship team. Keep listening to the opening drive for your chance to win a free pair of tickets this week, and get all the details on this Saturday's special greatest show on turf theme giveaway at the Cardinals game right now at cardinals.com/theme.